Thank you, Ron. I'll be with you just as soon as I find my stick of gum here. Well, we've got a dandy coming up for you now. I'm really looking for fireworks between SMU and Arkansas. Eddie Sutton said after the game against Texas yesterday, if we play that well tomorrow, we can beat any team in the country.
He's absolutely right. We mentioned before, it's worth mentioning again, Arkansas's plays last night was nothing less than sensational, Merle. You know, they played twice this year. They split, but both games were decided by 3 points. We can expect a tremendous ball game this afternoon. I think the key is going to be, even though most of the fans are going to be glued on our Olympic centers, John Koncak and Joe Klein, I think the key is going to be the play of the guards. The reason I say that is this. If Arkansas's guards, Freeman and Hutchinson, can continue this afternoon to put the pressure on like they did last night defensively, and if Butch Moore and Kyle Wright can't handle that pressure, school is out for SMU.
If Arkansas clogs the lanes against Koncak as they did against Brownlee and Wacker against Texas last night, holding them to 22 points, then a lot is going to fall upon the guards of SMU.
Well, I think it's going to have to anyhow. I'm sure they're going to overplay the passing lanes because that's one of the basic tenets of defense, and of course Arkansas knows those tenets about as well as anybody in the country. But you have to consider also that SMU has a better supporting cast for John Koncak. They can hit from the outside, something that Texas wasn't able to do last evening.
We've got Southern Methodist and Arkansas coming up next, and we'll be back after these words from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports Network.
It's Van Buren Furniture's for inventory sale with a large selection of living room sets at exceptional prices. Look at this two-piece set for only $118.95. Here's another two-piece set for $249.95. This high-quality living room set starts at only $569.95, and this six-piece is only $449.95. With this set, you receive a free lamp in your choice of 3 colors. Van Buren Furniture has other furniture specials like this rattan love seat for only $179.95. You can furnish your apartment or home inexpensively at Van Buren Furniture, 415 Main.
At Goodyear's 70 Goodyear Super Sale and Sweepstakes, you'll get Goodyear's best-selling tires on sale. You get a chance to win this elegant Gazelle motor car. Plus, Goodyear tires on sale. You get savings on automotive service. Plus, Goodyear tires on sale. You get this coupon book with $350 in discounts with any purchase. Plus, Goodyear tires on sale.
More in Vines Goodyear, 14th and Main, Van Buren, and South Zero and Highway 71 South, Fort Smith.
Wow, nice suit here. Chaps by Ralph Lauren. It's a pinstripe for Old Fort Clothiers. The price that you pay at Old Fort Clothiers is not the regular price that you'll find here on the white tag. It's the Old Fort Clothiers price on the yellow tag that you pay, and it's quite a bit lower. Whether you want a pinstripe or maybe a khaki suit like that or a bathing suit like this for spring, whatever. You know, you'll save a lot of money at Old Fort Clothiers, and I say that with earnest.
Old Fort Clothiers in Country Club Village, near Calico County.
On Friday, February 23rd, the skies opened up. The rains came down. Mill Creek rose, and 157 cars and pickups got wet at Putnam Lincoln Mercury. You're looking at what we saw at 3 in the morning. The insurance loss is your gain because Putnam's is having a flood sale. Reconditioned cars, full warranty with financing available. All the damp cars must go. Some got a little, some got a lot. You can save a bundle at Putnam Lincoln Mercury, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith.
The tournament finals tomorrow at 2 here on Channel 40.
When Arkansas and SMU meet, it is a classic showdown, and that is the case today as the stage is set to see who will meet Texas Tech in the Southwest Conference postseason finals.
These are the games of the Southwest Conference. Today, more of the semifinals of the postseason classic. Live from the home of the 1986 Final Four, Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas. It's Arkansas with inside tower Joe Klein, the leading scorer in the conference. Meeting SMU and his Olympic teammate, All-America shot blocker John Koncak. It's the final showdown between the giants of the Southwest Conference for a spot in the Classic Championship next on Raycom Sports. Today's game is brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies. We help put a brighter face on the future. By Silver Creek Moist Wintergreen Tobacco. It's cut a little rougher. By Gulf Oil, where at Gulf everything we do makes driving better for you. By Curtis Matson, a little more expensive, but worth it. By British Caledonian, known worldwide for the finest in British hospitality and service. By your local Toyota dealer. wanted in a beer and less. And by Good News and Good News Pivot Razors from Gillette, the essence of shaving.
I am the proud regiment of the Queen's Household Cavalry. I am a rowing 8 on the River Thames. I am a Cornish fishing village. I am the first-class way to London, with all the service and comfort you would expect from the airline that never forgets you have a choice. I am the best of Great Britain. I am British Caledonian Airways.
Being a Jefferson Standard agent does have its drawbacks.
George, tell me about universal life.
Fortunately, there's nothing we like more than helping you plan for the future.
Would you recommend stocks or mutual funds?
With insurance and a wide range of financial services.
Hey, George, you got a minute to talk about IRAs?
So when you have a question about your future, ask one of our agents about financial services from Jefferson Standard.
Hey, George.
Our business is your future.
I don't compete anymore, but I still pump iron. So after lifting a few hundred pounds, it's nice to lift one of these. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great, and it's less filling, with a third less calories than the regular beer. Now, you know, bodybuilding is hard work, but having a great body has its advantages. Sure makes it easy to pick up guys. Hi, Rodney.
Oh, hi there. What's going on here? Hey, honey, how about a lift home, huh?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Now that I know that the cost of tuition isn't going to sideline my college plans, I can really enjoy my last year of high school.
Introducing the new GI Bill and the new Army College Fund. If you qualify, you can sign up now, join in July, and earn over $25,000 for college while you serve America. Find out more about the new GI Bill and the new Army College Fund from your Army recruit.
Find your future in the Army.
We're down to the second semifinal game of this afternoon round. Texas Tech advancing to the championship game by beating Texas A&M this afternoon. And now Texas and Arkansas, or rather Arkansas and SMU, will be meeting for the third time this year as a result of Arkansas's win over Texas last night and SMU's victory over Houston. Now, let's look at these two teams in tournament action, Dan.
Well, there really wasn't much to say about SMU, Merle. The only other time that they've advanced this far, that is to the semifinals, was in 1983. And at that time, they were blown out by Houston. Arkansas, on the other hand, of course, is an extremely experienced tournament team, not only in the Southwest Conference postseason play, but in NCAA tournament play as well. You mentioned at the outset of our telecast this afternoon about all eyes are going to be on Konkak and Klein because of the natural matchup there. And in previous confrontations, John Konkak, you're looking at him right now, has scored 91 points and had 43 rebounds, while Klein has had 83 points and 56 rebounds. But really, that's a standoff, something you might expect. One is led in field goals, the other is led in rebounding. So I would say it's a standoff from our two Olympians.
The collapsing zones that other teams have used against Klein have really cut down his scoring production. For instance, one stretch, he faced, I believe, 4 straight zones, and he went 10 points, 14, 10, and 3. But when they're collapsing on him, doesn't that make him more effective as an offensive rebounder?
Yes, it should, because normally it puts him closer to the offensive basket. However, don't be worrying about collapsing zones in John Konkak this afternoon. You aren't going to see a zone, you aren't going to see a collapsing zone. What you're going to see is pressure man-to-man as good as you've ever seen before. Arkansas is going to play aggressive pressure man-to-man defense. Now, this would indicate that you would have a one-on-one situation, basically Klein on Konkak, but Arkansas does such a good job of team defense, helping each other out, that anytime that ball is going to come into John, there are going to be 2 people around him. So, in effect, there will be zoning Konkak when he's in a low post position.
So Eddie Sutton sends his Razorbacks to the floor to face SMU against Dave Bliss and crew, and the crowd is ready for this second semifinal game. Now for the lineups for this second semifinal game, here's Roger Feldman.
Good afternoon. afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Reunion Arena and for the Southwest Conference Postseason Basketball Classic between Southern Methodist University and the University of Arkansas. Here are your starting lineups for Southern Methodist University. Starting at guard, a 5'10" junior from Newburgh, New York, number 20, Butch Moore. At guard, a 6'4" sophomore from Meridian, Idaho, number 25, Scott Johnson. At guard, a 6'5" junior from Dallas, Texas, number 44, Carl Wright. At center, a 7' senior from Kansas City, Missouri, number 53, John Conkamp. At forward, a 6'7" senior from Lubbock, Texas, number 54, Larry Davis. The head coach of SMU is Dave Bliss. And for the University of Arkansas, starting at guard, a 6'3" freshman from New York City, New York, number 4, Kenny Hutchinson. At forward, a 6'7" sophomore from Perkins, Georgia, number 5, William Mills. Number 11, Allie Freeman. At forward, a 6'6" senior from Newport, Arkansas, number 24, Charles Ballantyne. And at center, a 6'11" senior from Slater, Missouri, number 35, Joe Klein. The head coach of for Arkansas, Eddie Sutton.
It's Southern Methodist against the University of Arkansas, meeting for the third time this year, and we'll be back with a tip-off after this word from Toyota.
Being number one is tough. Staying number one, even tougher. So what would you say about an import that's been number one in car sales 10 straight years? What would you say about an import that's been number one in small truck sales 6 years? Number one in import car model selection and unsurpassed in truck mechanical reliability. I'd say, save me one. The more you compare, the more you'll see. It's Toyota, not the other guys.
For Tom Casey, whose gasoline chickened out every time he tried to pass. Now, as always, there's the gas with guts with its extra octane to help you accelerate, climb, and pass without laying an egg. For Morton Mitchell, who demands the right gas, but at the right price, Gulf Self-Service makes more sense for less sense.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you.
The officials for this second game, Jim Harvey, Mike Tenko, and Bobby Dibler. So we're ready to go with the Razorbacks and the Mustangs. You know, an interesting point, just as we get ready to go, Merle, is motivation. Motivation plays a great part in all athletic contests, and we've got an interesting situation in this ball game involving motivation. I believe SMU has a lead pipe cinch on an NCAA bid. I don't think there's any question about that. On the other hand, Arkansas has 11 defeats. They may well have to win this tournament in order to get an NCAA bid. So if motivation is a factor, and we know it is, the advantage this afternoon goes to Arkansas. So we're ready. It's going to be Larry Davis to jump against Joe Klein for the opening tip-off. Finally, it's SMU to control, and Carl Wright comes out of there with it. Last night, Wright had 14 points in the victory over Houston, also had 5 rebounds. Butch Moore, we're looking for another performance by him today as one of the keys as Davis turns around to try to put 2 on the board, and Konkak tips it right back to him. Talk about the outside play. We mentioned last night going into the ball game as SMU turns it over to Arkansas. That Moore, again, probably will be a key factor in this one, wouldn't you think?
Oh, obviously, he and Carl Wright, if they can withstand, and not only withstand, if they can handle and go by the pressure that Arkansas guards are going to put on to get the ball inside to the big man, that may well be the secret. Let's take a look early in the ball game and see how they handle that defensive pressure.
William Mills rings the bell with the first bucket of the day, and Arkansas leads by a score of 2-0. William Mills, a sophomore out of Perkins, Georgia. Konkak up high, and Joe Klein has the assignment on him in the man-to-man matchup. Davis ties the game quickly, though. Larry, 16 points against Texas last night, 7 rebounds.
And
the score is locked at 2.
Right. One of the things, excuse me, Merle, that SMU is doing early is they're bringing their front line out to take some of that pressure off of the guards. Larry Davis, as you've seen, both times down the floor came out to get the basketball, relieving some of that pressure. So it's good offensive strategy by SMU in the early going.
SMU in the zone against Arkansas. Arkansas always a man-to-man team. That's Mills going for a second bucket, knocked away by Koncak, and Wright comes out of there with it for SMU.
Koncak has to have a good game for SMU. Last night, I don't think he was playing as well as he's capable of. Maybe he knew something we didn't know and was saving himself for this afternoon, but he has to have a big one this afternoon.
A big point of last night's ball game was they had 3 key men foul out with still lots of time. That's Johnson, who had a pretty good ball game last night, and he is fouled by Arkansas's Allie Freeman.
Well, this is an interesting situation. We're going to see it again. Here comes the pass. What happened? Hutchinson was doing a good job of playing team defense. He was going over to protect. He took his eyes off his man, which was Johnson, and Johnson didn't stay out in the perimeter. He went to the basket where you should go when you're free. Consequently, he got himself on the free throw line.
So Dave Bliss and his SMU Mustangs tied at 2. Will try to unlock it with Scott Johnson. Johnson, a fine outside shooter from Meridian, Idaho, and also is a key man on the free throw line with 79% of his shots. He had 10 points in last night's victory that catapulted SMU into this semifinal round. We had a whistle and a lane violation.
Yeah, Mills jumped in a little too soon. You have to wait until the ball leaves the shooter's hands. All right, there you see it did not leave his hands. Who came in? Carl, Wright, and Mills both came in that time, so obviously Carl was whistled.
Freeman stepped over the line out of bounds, and a good defensive effort there by Scott Johnson as he took the real estate away from him, and Freeman stepped over the line, and SMU takes it.
It's interesting, SMU taking a page out of Arkansas's defensive book, putting pressure on when you cross midcourt.
Last night, Koncak fouled out with 4 minutes left. Moore went out with 3:55, and Carl Wright with 3:45. Wright over the top of the rim. Butch Moore picks up a garbage ball, and it won't go for him either. And Valentine tries to bang it off of Larry Davis, and Wright winds up with the basketball. He tries to go underneath to Koncak, and a foul is logged against Kenny Hutchinson of Arkansas.
Carl Wright exercised good judgment in that sequence. Now, in a lot of situations, Carl would have taken the shot instead of bringing it back out where he got some help. I like that move by Carl. He came back out, he waited till John got underneath, and then he wisely got the ball inside to him.
So Carl Wright, who was named our player of the game last night, goes into Davis, and Davis tries to come down the lane, and Freeman fouls him, and Allie has picked up his second foul, and that's a third team foul against Arkansas.
Well, this could really be a key in the ball game. If SMU is successful in getting early fouls on Arkansas's guards, that's going to force Eddie to substitute and put in players who aren't as adept at playing that pressure man-to-man defense.
Southern Methodist inbounds the ball with a 3-2 lead. Johnson looks, he does not go, and tries to come down the lane, but he traveled with the ball. Southern Methodist was red hot in the first half last night, shooting a phenomenal percentage, as they did against Houston in their final season game at Houston last Sunday. But in the second half, it seemed like they started to run out of steam.
Well, you've hit on an interesting point, Merrill. They've not only run out of steam last night in the second half, but that's been their pattern in perhaps the last 4 or 5 games that they've played. Now, you know, you can attribute that to lots of things. The real reason we certainly don't know, but that's something we need to look for this afternoon. I look for them to play a very good first half, but then look out and see how they play that second half, because obviously that will be very interesting.
An exchange of rebounds by the big men, Koncak and Klein, after Scott Johnson had missed that shot. Klein pulls it down for the Hogs, who trail it by 1 with 16:48 to go in the first half. Inside to Klein. They double him in that zone as Scott Johnson stepped in to help out Koncak. Freeman from the outside, though. Allie Freeman, the freshman from Hall High School in Little Rock.
After you've played each other twice like these two teams have, there really aren't any secrets in the third ball game. So you can look for the defenses to play just about the same way that they did in the first 2 ball games, with the exception of the fact that Arkansas is playing defense so much more intense right now.
Koncak missed the shot. Klein rebounded it, and Arkansas has it. The Razorbacks have a 4-3 lead. The Razorbacks have won 20 and lost 11 now this year, 10-6 in the regular season conference play. They finished in a tie for second place. Joe Klein, turnaround over Davis. Air ball, missed everything. Out of bounds, Arkansas's ball apparently hit Concac or Johnson.
Arkansas does not want an up-tempo ball game this afternoon against SMU. They're going to be very content to play this game at half court.
And Arkansas takes a timeout with 15 minutes and 59 seconds to go in the first half. 4-3 Razorbacks, and we'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station.
There's a certain Southwest spirit.
This is what we call our Quicket machine. It allows you to buy a ticket in about 30 seconds.
There's a certain Southwest style.
Just take your credit card and run it through the machine like this. Just like this.
There's a certain Southwest flair.
Patty, what's wrong with this machine?
Card's expired, Herb.
Oh.
We're Southwest Airlines, keeping fares low and spirits high for you.
What kind of person buys a Curtis Mathis stereo?
The technology is unbelievable.
Well, a person who appreciates the quality and engineering of top-of-the-line audio systems.
I'll pay by check. Every month.
Or a person who wants easy monthly payments on the only stereo with a 4-year warranty.
But we don't want to buy it.
We want to rent it.
Or someone who doesn't want to rent just any old stereo, but a Curtis Mathis stereo components.
You won't believe your ears.
No extra charge, just extra service at Available Medical Care.
What do you do when you need a doctor on the weekend?
We're available from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week.
I don't have time to wait for hours just for a checkup.
No appointment necessary and no waiting. We know your time is valuable too.
I want to be a doctor when I grow up, Mom.
Quality, professional medical services from professionals who care about you. The doctor's in 7 days a week at Available Medical Care.
Dallas was hog heaven for the Razorbacks last night with a big win to advance to the semifinal round. Kevin Lewis has come in now for Scott Johnson for Southern Methodist. Merle Harmon along with Dan Spica and our host Ron Thulin. And the SMU ponies are well represented here today. Arkansas on the inbounds, leading by a score of 4-3. They go alley-oop for William Mills, but he was under the rim, comes back with a layup and misses, and Davis clears it out of there for Southern Methodist, and the Mustangs fast break it with Butch Moore stopping, missing, ball coming out. Moore picks it up.
That alley-oop pass, even though it wasn't successful, should serve as a warning to SMU that you've got to keep your eyes open. You can't let anybody get behind your zone defense like that.
Valentine takes the ball away. Mills driving, hits the layup, and a foul is called. The basket is good. Boy, there was plenty of contact at the other end of the floor here on the takeaway.
Yeah, there really was. Actually, there was a lot of contact on both ends of the floor. Let's take a look at it. Here comes Mills. He sees the steal, and out he goes. Now, awfully difficult to dislodge somebody 6'7", 220 pounds with the ability that William Mills has.
Mills has averaged, as you see, 9.4 points a game. He had 8 last night against Texas. He's got 4 so far.
Well, as we mentioned last night, Merle, the key to Mills' play is control, and he has learned to play this game under control within the system, and because of it, he has become a much, much better basketball player.
Mills now has 5 of the 7 points for Arkansas in the 7-3 Razorback lead. Carl Wright underneath, left hands it, reversed it.
You can't do it any better than that.
So Wright, who pumped in 14 last night and contributed 5 rebounds, cuts the Arkansas lead to 2.
Well, you know, they say about Carl, they say a lot of things about Carl. One of the things they say is he plays his best in a big game. So if that's the case, we should look for an outstanding performance by Carl Wright this afternoon.
Klein and Allie Freeman playing catch. They keep looking for Joe Klein. There he is on the baseline, but Kevin Lewis steps in to help Concac against him.
I really think the biggest factor in the zone offense for Arkansas is Charles Valentine. Can they get him the ball on that baseline, and can he operate when he gets it there?
They did that in the game at Moody Coliseum, and he had 29 points against SMU.
That's right, the best game he's ever played. They shut him down pretty well up in the hills, however.
More Concac up high, back underneath Davis. Now they reverse, they go double there, and right Wright shot is missed, and Valentine clears it away for Arkansas.
Arkansas's defensive pressure isn't as noticeable for two reasons. One, SMU has some great athletes, and two, they're giving them a lot of offensive motion. The more motion you give, the more difficult to apply defensive pressure.
We played 6 minutes, or almost 6 minutes, 6 minutes 2 seconds in the first half, and from the corner it's William Mills. So Mills has 7 of the 9 Arkansas points in the 9-5 lead.
The SMU defense has to adjust to Mills. He is a good and a consistent outside shooter. He is their best offensive threat from the perimeter.
So the Ponies down by 4 here in the early going. Carl Wright trying to foot fake by Ollie Freeman, but Freeman holds his ground, and they come back to the outside. Down the baseline, Kevin Lewis, shot blocked by Joe Klein. Ball batted back and forth. Contact saves it for Butch Moore, who comes down the lane, arching very high and missing. Cleared out of there by Arkansas, and William Mills, who's been the key performer so far for Arkansas, comes down with the board.
Playing extremely well. Those last 2 sequences, Merle, gave us a real good illustration of what team defense is all about. You watch Arkansas, the way they move to the ball to shut off any possibilities of a score by SMU. They do an excellent job of it.
As we mentioned earlier, after last night's game against Texas, Eddie Sutton said, we've almost played a perfect ball game, and if we had played that well all year, we wouldn't have lost many. In fact, he said we could have beaten anybody in the country last night. Well, if they played that well all year, they'd be undefeated, wouldn't they?
He's got a good point there.
Joe Klein and Contact trying to block him. Contact giving Klein fits, and he gets a shot at forcing it, missing. Valentine following and being fouled by Davis.
You didn't have to see that one. That one we heard. Joe Klein in the post, low post, John Contact on him. He fakes, he comes up for the shot, puts the ball down. That's usually a fatal mistake. This time he gets away with it. And then he muscles it up, and a foul occurs on Valentine.
3 team fouls against SMU.
I'm sorry, that's Valentine on the free throw line.
Valentine will be there. And he missed it. Well, let's see. Apparently the foul was on Contact in place of Davis.
Yeah, I thought I saw Contact's left arm make that motion. We certainly heard it if we didn't see it.
Valentine 1 out of 2, and it is now 10-5. We come up to midcourt as Kevin Lewis takes it to the lane, lays it off to Larry Davis. 12.5 minutes to go in the first half. Carl Wright making his move, turn around, left-hand shot.
Yeah, I know. Shake your head, he's something, isn't he? However, SMU is playing good basketball, but the tempo of the game being played right now, Merle, definitely favors Arkansas. Watch them walk the ball down the floor. They do not want to get into a running game with SMU. They want to keep this game at half court, which they're doing successfully. Run off as much time as possible, then get the good percentage shot.
Valentine baseline. And a foul. So Charles Valentine, fouled by Davis.
Well, let's see what happens. Well, that just had to be a foul on Davis. He was overplaying away from the baseline side, and even though you're in a zone, you still try to build that defense from the baseline. So if you do lose your man, you've got some supporting help.
Valentine makes it a 3-point play, and the Hogs go up by 6, 13-7. Each team with 3 team fouls now.
SMU just plays better when they can accelerate the pace of the game. They count on a good percentage of their points coming from the fast break.
SMU has averaged 76 points a game this year, while Arkansas has put up 65 points on the board per game. Davis wheeling and missing the layup, but tipped in by Lewis.
Lewis had an excellent game for SMU last night. He was kicked in the leg. There was some thought that he may not be able to make it today, but he looks fine. I don't see any evidence of any injury, and he's contributing already.
Last night he had 14 off the bench. 13-9 Arkansas. 11.5 to go in the first half. The winner of this one will take on Texas Tech in the championship game tomorrow. Klein up in the high post, Wright trying to knock the ball away from him, but he got it away to Freeman. Now Hutchinson comes down the lane.
Larry Davis should have stepped in his way that time. He kind of waved him by, but he was in position to step in and take the charge. That would have stopped that.
Arkansas playing with a lot of intensity. Again, coming up that big ball game over Texas last night. They played a lot of people off the bench. Davis a turnaround, in and out. Arkansas's Valentine rebounds. And the Mustangs are down 15-9. I thought Dave Bliss was going to call a timeout there.
Well, if he does, I think one of the things he's going to talk about is rebounding. If you notice that time when Davis took that shot, he was only about 4 feet from the basket, but instead of following up, he faded back like he was going on defense. Consequently, they had no offensive board power.
Dave was up off the bench taking a look, decides to let the play go. Hutchinson, good outside shooter. We've got contact, Freeman, and Wright mixing it up. Carl Wright gets the foul. That is the first foul on Carl Wright, the 14th foul against Southern Methodist. Now there's the timeout with 10:28 to go in the first half.
All right, Arkansas with the basketball. Here's Kenny Hutchinson making that nice drive. You see, Davis did not move his feet. He just moved his arm. And the first principle you teach a defense is to get your feet moving, not your hands. You can't do much with your hands, but you can do a lot with your feet.
So in this semifinal game, Arkansas leading 15-9 to see who will play Texas Tech for the title tomorrow.
Recently, a lot of men have learned about a different, full-flavored, moist snuff. It's made from dark fire tobacco. Aged and cured correctly, it has a rich, full tobacco flavor. Some thought it might cost more. As a matter of fact, a can of Redwood costs a little less. Redwood, a rich, dark fire tobacco for less.
We just found out that Booby here drinks the same beer as me, Corky, Sparky, Buck, and Boom Boom. Light beer from Miller. Now, Booby, Buck, and Boom Boom like light because it's got a third less calories than the regular beer and it's less filling, while Corky and Sparky drink it for the great taste. So Boom Boom, Buck, and Booby don't necessarily drink it for the same reason as Sparky and Corky. They all agree that light's the best beer to buy. Isn't that right, Booby?
You bet, Boom Boom.
Right, Buck?
You got it, Corky.
What about that, Sparky?
You said it, Boog.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Other ball games going on today. Tournaments being played, and in the ACC semifinal, North Carolina State a 1-point lead over North Carolina. Memphis State, in an overtime, wins the Metro Championship against Florida State. Alabama, big upset winner last night, coming back with a 4-point lead over Auburn in the first half. And Marquette beat DePaul. That is a bit of a surprise.
That might get Marquette a tournament bid, the NCAA bid. One way or another, I'm sure they'll go to a postseason tournament. Dave Bliss and his Mustangs down 15-9. We're almost halfway through the first half here.
Well, we talked about the fact last evening that coaches become conservative when it comes to tournament time, and I think you're seeing a classic example of that philosophy on the floor right now.
One of the big problems the Mustangs have had, they've been very cold from the field here in the first half after being red hot in their last 2 games against Houston from the field. They've hit only 27% here in the first half. Turnover.
No, timeout. Eddie Sutton took a timeout.
All right, with the timeout, we've got 10:08 left to play in a 15-9 Arkansas lead. What about the timeout? What's his purpose here?
He obviously saw something that he didn't like because he jumped off the bench and he made it very quickly, very deliberately. So what he saw, I don't know. But I'd like to say something about what's happening to SMU right now, Merle. They are being forced to spend the vast majority of their time on defense. That does 2 things. Number 1, it tires you out. When you do get the ball on offense, you have a tendency not to recover as rapidly because you spend so much time on defense. And then 2, it doesn't allow you to develop any real good offensive rhythm. Here's Eddie the Huffins here. What are you saying?
Well, Eddie is charting it out for his team. Eddie has done a marvelous job in his years at Arkansas, as has Dave Bliss. Dave, in the past 3 years going into the tournament, had won 65 and lost 27. Eddie Sutton, one of the masters of the art of coaching, matching wits with Dave Bliss.
He obviously saw something in that defense by SMU. What it is, I don't know, but maybe he's looking to exploit something, and he saw a lineup where he could. Hard to say what he saw, but it had to be something that SMU was doing, certainly not something that his team was doing.
Okay, still 10:08 to go. 15-9 is the score, and Arkansas is on top. And Kenny Hutchinson, you talk about a guy that has really come along. Hutchinson has done that for Arkansas. He had to sit out last year because of an academic situation coming out of high school in New York. A technicality that made him ineligible a year ago, and he could not even work out. Well, after a miss from the outside and a miss by Ballantyne on the follow, SMU comes off with the ball. Johnny Fuller is now in for Southern Methodist, number 11.
Giving Butch Moore a little blow.
15-9 the score, Arkansas ahead. Scott Johnson back in the game now for Southern Methodist, trying to go into contact at the baseline. He is blocked there by Klein, and he forced him out of bounds.
And the official apparently stated that Concac stepped out of bounds and that Joe Klein had nothing to do with it. And of course, Concac doesn't agree with that interpretation.
Well, Klein just got up there and didn't move, and Concac couldn't do anything about it.
Hey, he's a little off balance. I think that's why he took that extra step.
So the Hogs lead at 15-9, and they have the basketball.
They got possession this time when the clock registered about 9:16. Let's see how long they hold it, forcing SMU to stay on the defensive end.
One of the things that Eddie Sutton talked about before this tournament started with no shot clock, he said, yeah, we'll play a lot like we used to play for Mr. Iva at Oklahoma State, or in his day, Oklahoma A&M.
And you're witnessing right now exactly what he was stating.
Ballantyne off the baseline, nice and close, and he has 6 points, and Arkansas leads at 17-9.
Well, that wasn't bad. That was within about 20 seconds. If SMU could get their hands on the ball every 20 seconds, yes, they can develop some offensive rhythm. So far, they haven't.
Johnny Fuller, Williams now in. He has replaced Larry Davis, so you got Williams and Concac both in. Carl Wright trying to bank it home, couldn't. Tipped by Concac back to Williams, and Carl Wright has it.
Arkansas, basically in the person of Joe Klein, are doing a good job of preventing that ball from coming into Concac. Now, to relieve some of that pressure, SMU is going to have to get some perimeter shooting.
Concac has not scored yet. They try to go to Concac, and he is fouled by Ballantyne as he made his move. He shook Joe Klein, who lost his footing and went down, and Ballantyne was the only man left that could stop him, and he fouled.
This is one of the best pivot plays I've seen John make in a long, long time. Watch how quick it is, and with authority to that basket. Now, normally, he has a tendency to pull up and take a short jumper, but now he went with authority to the basket that time.
Concac is a 69% free throw shooter, this senior from Kansas City, Missouri. Second shot to be in play. They've had lots of trouble with free throws here in the arena, except Phil Wallace of Texas Tech rammed in 14 out of 16 in the first game.
I was going to say, don't include Texas Tech in that figure. They shot lights out from that free throw line in the first ball game.
But everybody else seems to have had trouble. 17-10, 7-point lead Arkansas. We have 8 minutes to go in the first half. Ballantyne way to the outside. Now Klein and Ballantyne are going to drop back underneath. They had cleared out underneath. There's Klein, there's Concac. Turn around over him, got it. Klein is on the board for the first time. So Concac has scored 1 point, Klein has scored 2.
That really doesn't come as a great deal of surprise. Of course, it's a low-scoring ball game, but I felt all along that the guards were going to either make or break this game.
Johnson hits the rim, cleared out of there by Irvin. Byron Irvin now in for Arkansas, and he had 18 points off the bench against SMU at Fayetteville this year.
Well, things are going Arkansas's way. That's quite evident. They're giving SMU one shot, not very many shots. They're controlling both boards, and it has been their half so far.
You got Hutchinson, a good outside shooter. Irvin, an excellent outside shooter. Now makes a move and throws up the layup, and it goes in for him. So Byron Irvin.
That was an element of surprise. Excuse me, Merrill. You haven't seen, I think that's only the second time we've seen Arkansas penetrate when they had their hands on the ball.
So it's a 21-10 Arkansas lead. 7:04 to go, and let's look at this action again.
All right, this is Johnson's responsibility. He makes a move. It's a good move when you don't anticipate a man's going to drive, and I think it came as an element of surprise. Irvin, a good outside shooter. He killed SMU up on the hill some outside, and I think Johnson was anticipating an outside shot like he had a right to.
So the Hogs are hot as they were against Texas last night, and they have a 21-10 lead over SMU, and we'll be back after this word from the Jefferson Pilot Company.
The essence of climbing. John Bacher.
You gotta know the rock, every inch of it. But what gets you over is a feeling that says you're going all the way.
The essence of shaving.
This is the Gillette Good News Disposable Razor. Light, easy to handle, twin blades. But what good news is really all about is a feeling. A feeling you only get from Gillette.
Good news and good news pivot from Gillette, the essence of shaving.
This man has a secret weapon. He sells Pilot Life Group Insurance. His weapon? Pilot's Pace. It's an automated group claims evaluation system. It delivers instant, accurate information, provides faster claims settlement, gives Pilot the power to get checks on the way quicker, and give your company more dependable service. Pilot's Pace. No wonder we're a national leader in group insurance.
This telecast is authorized by rights granted by the Southwest Athletic Conference, the University of Arkansas, and Southern Methodist University. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the written permission of these parties is expressly prohibited. The announcers for this game were approved by the Southwest Athletic Conference. This is SMU's problem, Dan.
23-5. I hope to tell you that's a problem. Again, the basic reason for that is, Merle, they're not getting the ball sufficiently enough to get into a good offensive rhythm. And when you do that, you don't have anybody having an opportunity to heat up.
Butch Moore is back in the ball game for Southern Methodist. Larry Davis is back, and almost a takeaway by Arkansas. Ballantyne, after the ball was deflected by Byron Irvin, just about ripped it away, but Southern Methodist is able to retain possession, and Butch Moore slipped and lost the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, that really had nothing to do with pressure that time. That was just, as you stated, a slip by Butch. You know, one of the big differences in the Arkansas team we're looking at now and the one we saw earlier in the season is the fact that they don't break down anymore, Merle. Earlier in the season, either an individual or a situation, as we look at the turnovers here, and this pretty well indicates what we're talking about. Only 2 turnovers. They're just not breaking down. They're playing within control all aspects of the game.
And they're also red hot. William Mills out of that corner again. Mills has 9 points here in the first half, and his scoring average is 9 per game for the season. 23-10. Razorbacks lead by 13. Larry Davis back to Butch Moore.
SMU has got to start creating some offense.
Arkansas with that hand in the face defense. Al McGuire used to call it fist in the face defense.
It has a tendency to be that way a lot of the times.
Inside to Larry Davis, who won't go down front, tipped in by Concat. That's his first field goal. He had 15 points and 12 rebounds in the win over Houston last night.
Davis will be successful in posting low because they concentrate their defense on contact. But when you post low, that low, and you get that shot, obviously you've got to convert it.
23-12, Arkansas. Long cross-quarter goes to Ballantyne. He starts looking for Joe Klein.
Now, Larry Davis is pulling back now. It's one thing to double Klein, but you've got to honor Mills because he is their best outside shooter, and he is hot at the present time.
We've got a whistle, and was that a 3-second
violation? Irvin was crossing the lane, and he decided to camp for a while.
That's the first one I've seen this year, I believe.
They don't call many of those anymore. You're right.
I'm shocked. I've been looking for that all season.
You saw it.
Traveling by Butch Moore. 2 straight turnovers by Butch. One time he slipped, lost the ball out of bounds. This time he traveled.
Well, you can definitely attribute that to defensive pressure. Kyle Wright was being overplayed that time. He didn't elude his man. Butch thought he had. He hadn't. Therefore, Butch was called for the traveling.
Carl Wright gets arrested. Scott Johnson comes back into the game. The sophomore from Meridian, Idaho. Eddie Sutton in his 11th year at Arkansas. Got Joe Klein on the outside now, and they've got Byron Irvin roaming back and forth on the baseline underneath. They send Mills back there now. Good movement by Arkansas. Now into Joe Klein. The contact stops him, but that doesn't stop Irvin. Byron Irvin again.
Well, Arkansas is just picking up where they left off last evening, shooting lights out.
25-12 over SMU. Kevin Lewis. They move it to the right side. Davis missing contact for the rebound. Fouled by Ballantyne of Arkansas.
I really think that's the key to the offense right now for SMU is get the ball into Davis. He can free himself much easier than Concat can. Then he either has the open shot, or if the defense then jumps on him, he can drop the ball off to Concat. To me, that looks like their best gamut at the present time.
5 team fouls against Arkansas, 4 against SMU.
Also, a few outside shots going in won't hurt.
And I think Mr. Johnson heard you.
Well, you have to do it. You have to release that pressure somehow, and that's the best way I know how to do it.
25-14 Arkansas. 4 minutes, 14 seconds to go in the first half.
Kenny Hutchinson spinning away from Butchmore, and Hutchinson finds himself back underneath the basket. Now they try to go back underneath. Shot blocked by contact. William Mills had that shot blocked. Here come the Mustangs.
Good legitimate block, even though Eddie Sutton doesn't think so. But John got that ball going up.
Now an alley-oop for contact. He doesn't do that too well, and the rebound is taken up by Klein.
John really isn't that quick to handle that. He was a little too far away from the basket for that to be successful. If you catch him close to the basket, fine, but not that far away.
So the Hogs take the 25-14 lead down the floor to Klein. Klein spinning away from contact. And Davis, after he went for the shot, fouled him. Hutchinson goes out, and Allie Freeman comes in for Arkansas. Larry Davis, 2 fouls.
We talked about our Olympic centers. There they are. Let's take a look at them, working on each other. Well, first we saw the attempt by Konkek that was unsuccessful. Then we saw the big rebound pulled down by Joe Klein. 2 of the biggest and the best in the country.
Klein leads the conference scorers with a 21-7 average. 71% free throw shooter, this senior from Slater, Missouri. Oh, look at that ball come off those fingertips. (26-14) Arkansas.
Pretty impressive statistics.
4 points for Joe Klein. 3:29 to go here in the first half, and Arkansas builds its lead to 13.
There's another chapter in the battle of the big man. Here we see Klein underneath. He fakes his shot, makes a nice pivot, comes up underneath. Defensive help comes for SMU in the form of Larry Davis, but comes a little too late.
With the timeout now, 3:29 to play in the first half. The Hogs, who have led all the way through this first half, are up by 13, and we'll be back after this word from Toyota.
There's no value like Toyota value. These leading used car guides rate Toyota higher in overall percent of retained value, higher than Chevy or Ford or Nissan. A 1-year-old Toyota Corolla, for example, is valued at almost 5% more than its original sticker. A Toyota Camry, more than 10%. Impressive numbers, you know it. The more you compare, the more you'll see. It's Toyota, not the other guys.
For Ed Ryan, who was confused by all the new unleaded gasoline claims, there's Gulf Super Unleaded. Now is always the gas with guts, one of the highest octane gasolines you can buy. For Morton Mitchell, who demands the right gas, but at the right price, Gulf self-service makes more sense for less sense.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you.
Well, let's see how the big guys are matching up against each other. 4-3 and 4-3, huh?
4-3 and 3-4. You know, SMU at the present time is only shooting 28.6%, and that's a bit surprising because in the other 2 ball games that these 2 teams have played, SMU, the first game out, shot 55.3. Then up in the hills, they shot 73.7. Now, they lost the game, but that's some tremendous shooting. So it's rather surprising that they're only shooting 28% at this time.
Reggie Pink, number 22, is now in the game for Southern Methodist. Butch Moore and Carl Wright, Larry Davis, and Konkak. That's Davis, and he drops it in up over the outstretched hand of Joe Klein. So Davis, who had 16 against Houston last night and 7 rebounds, has 4 in the game now for SMU.
Well, they can get the ball into Larry offensively, and that's the thing that they need to do.
Dan and I are watching all the action on our monitors supplied by Curtis Mathis. Curtis Mathis, a little more expensive, but worth it.
We've seen a defensive change right here. We anticipate that when Pink comes in. SMU is now in a man-to-man. This is an attempt by Dave Bliss to get some action out of his team, both on the offensive and the defensive end.
Byron Irvin, an offensive foul as he banged into Konkak.
There comes the pass inside. He goes to the basket, but for his sake, unfortunately, John Konkak happened to own that territory a little earlier.
16 fouls now against Arkansas. SMU is still under 30% from the field, while Arkansas is over 60.
Wright jumping, pumping, missing, and Wright over on the baseline to pick up his own board with help from Larry Davis. Now his turnaround is short of the mark. And we've got a foul logged against Valentine. That'll be his third.
Yeah, pushing foul. It looked to me like several fouls could have been called in that melee. There was a lot of action underneath the basket that time. Let's see.
A minute.
That can't be on Valentine because Arkansas is taking the ball out of bounds.
They may have turned it around. Eddie Sutton was all over the officials over on the bench, and apparently it was on Konkak.
Now, there was any one of three people that could have been whistled down for that one.
So Valentine is safe with 2 fouls right now. Konkak has 2.
All right, SMU, man-to-man defense, picking up at midcourt in an attempt, number 1, to get Arkansas to accelerate the pace of this game, get them to make a few mistakes, hopefully to make a few steals, and then just in general to get themselves motivated.
William Mills, offensive foul. That'll be the 7th foul against Arkansas.
Well, they're forcing right now, as we watch Mills do his thing, they're forcing Arkansas to do something that they haven't done. They're getting him into a different rhythm. They're taking him out of the good offensive rhythm that they had developed against their zone.
So we will march to the other end of the floor as William Mills picks up his first foul of the ball game.
As Mills walked by Sutton, Sutton gave him an earful of, don't do that again. We want to keep the basketball. You're shooting too rapidly. Just because they're now into a man-to-man defense, that doesn't mean that you should go crazy.
Reggie Pink, out of Kimball High School in Dallas, a senior at 6'4", hasn't really played that much this year for SMU. Misses the free throw. Williams tips it in.
Well, we talked about Kevin Lewis having a ball game last night. Williams perhaps was as responsible as anybody, if not more than most, for SMU winning. He had a great game, particularly on the boards.
Minute 40 left to play in the first half, and the Arkansas lead has been cut to 9. Allie Freeman guarded by Butch Moore in the match there, and a turnaround by Klein, air ball, but look, Irvin is there to follow it. Byron Irvin, who had 18 points off the bench against SMU in the meeting here in Dallas this year, has 6 points here in the first half.
Well, the man-to-man defense is doing exactly what Bliss wants it to do. It's causing Arkansas to take early, fast shots, but that time Irvin foiled their plans by getting the rebound.
Williams missed an easy layup on a follow, and Valentine fouls, a pushing foul.
Valentine is upset, but to me it looked like a pretty good steal by Pink. He just took the ball out of his hands. Let's take another look at it and see if that's exactly what happened. All right, there's the shot by Konkak that falls woefully short. Williams goes back up for what should be an easy 2. He doesn't get it. Valentine, yes, he does come down to the rebound, but Pink just strips it out of his hands.
So Valentine will go to the bench, and Andrew Lang will come in to replace him.
I think Valentine was more shocked and surprised than anything else.
Reggie Pink will be on the free throw line. Andrew Lang, by the way, is a freshman from Pine Bluff, Delaware High School, and he will be the heir apparent to Joe Klein next year. They cannot hit those free throws. Let's see if he can hit up the baseline. Nope, not there either.
Oops.
Lang traveled.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I wasn't sure that it was going to be called that way because he really fell off of Carl Wright, but Carl didn't move. I believe Carl was stationary. All right, there's Pink's shot coming from the left side of the basket. There's the long rebound. Yeah, see, Carl was standing still. He was an innocent bystander that time, and Lang just lost his balance getting the rebound.
And Arkansas takes it away with 50 seconds left to play in the first half. The Hogs lead at 29-18. Looking for the one, maybe. Klein, ball deflected, knocked out of bounds by Carl Wright. Wright's hands are so quick. Johnny Fuller is coming in. Butch Moore will sit down for Southern Methodist.
Well, Fuller's a little fresher, perhaps just a little bit quicker, anticipates maybe a little bit better. This is a good time for him to come into the ball game with just a matter of seconds left in the half.
We're down to 30 seconds. Offensive foul, Freeman.
Yes, sir. Fuller did his job. He drew that foul. Excellent defensive play by Fuller.
I'll tell you something, Allie Freeman has 3 fouls and Charles Ballantyne has 3, and we've got 31 seconds left to go in the first half, and that spells trouble for Arkansas, but Arkansas is a very strong bench. Freeman comes out, Hutchinson comes in. That bench has been developed over the year, Dan.
Oh, definitely. Well, of course, all coaches strive to do that. You can't really have a good bench when the season starts. Oh, you may if you have a senior ball club, you have some excellent underclassmen, but by and large, it takes a good half of the year to develop a good, strong bench, one that you can rely on.
So with 17 seconds to go in the first half, SMU in possession, 29-18, Arkansas. And the ball is batted away and then stolen by Williams. And underneath is Butch Moore, and he gets hammered by Joe Klein.
Oh, yeah, what a great move by Butch that time. He could have pulled up and taken the jumper. I have to believe that he saw Joe Klein in his way and said to himself, maybe I can get a foul on the big guy. And that's what happened. Here's Carl yo-yoing around a little bit. There's a steal by Mills. There's a steal back by Williams. Oh, sure. Butch saw Big Joe in front of him, and I have to believe that he went for the foul rather than the layup.
So Butch Moore, who had 10 points last night, is scoreless so far in the game this afternoon, scoring 9 per game average-wise, and he's on the scoreboard. Klein getting his first foul.
You know, it's surprising Butch's lack of scoring in the first ball game. Between these two teams, he went for 20. In the second ball game, he went for 12. So maybe we can look for him to score a little more in the second half.
And you saw Joe Klein a moment ago. He was not addressing an official. He was addressing a teammate.
He does a good job of that, yeah. He keeps good control. He's a real traffic cop on the floor for Arkansas.
Let's see if they can score with 7 seconds. Lang, and he is fouled by Davis with 5 seconds left to play.
Good offensive maneuver by Arkansas. They hoped to catch SMU sleeping, and in a sense they did.
So Davis gets 3 fouls.
All right, there, the maneuvering, of course, is to get the ball in tight. There's the long pass. Lang with 6'11" gets it. Catches Davis a little bit by surprise. Davis tries to make up for his mistake, and in the process, of course, he fouls Lang, putting him on the line.
Lang is 63% this year as a free throw shooter. 30-20 Arkansas with 5 seconds to go in the first half. Eddie Sutton has had 5 first-place finishes in the Southwest Conference, 4 second-place finishes, and 1 fourth-place finish. Lang missing, second shot. Byron Irvin on a follow, batted away by Williams, and a foul on Williams.
Well, I was looking at his hand like I think everybody was, and I thought he got the ball, but the official indicated a push, and that normally means he caught him with the body. Let's have another look at that. There he goes up. There's the rebound. Well, that's what he's saying. Yeah, he got him with the body. It's from the shoulder on down to the hip, the way that is construed.
Byron Irvin from Chicago, Illinois, a freshman. 61% free throw shooter.
Ripples in it.
The Hogs have been hot in the first half. The Ponies, on the other hand, have shot about 30%.
Yeah, in actuality, Irvin has got to be a much better free throw shooter than 61%. He just hasn't shot that many to get his average up.
2 seconds, 1 second, and it is all over for the first half. So the Arkansas Razorbacks picked up the intensity that they had in the game last night as they won easily over Texas, and they lead SMU by 11, 31-20 at the half. Southwest Conference basketball on the Raycom Sports Network has been brought to you in part by Light Beer from Miller, everything you always wanted in a beer and less, and by the U.S. Army, a place to be, all you can be. So the Razorbacks, who have won 20 games this year, SMU has won 22. Both teams played extremely well in the first half last night. SMU slowed down a little bit in their second half of their ball game, while Arkansas, with that gigantic lead over Texas, went to the bench and everybody played, and I mean everybody. He really cleared the bench. So Arkansas comes back basically playing the same kind of game today that it played last night.
They are, but really, in this half, it hasn't been the defense that has been responsible as much as it's been the offense. Holding the ball, controlling the ball on offense. I think that's been the contributing factor to their 11-point lead.
They've been extremely aggressive in both areas of the game, though.
Oh, yes, they're aggressive all over the floor. But the fact that they're denying SMU offensive opportunities, I think that has been certainly one of the 2 keys of the first half, Merle.
So Arkansas leads by 11 at the half. Now let's go to Ron Thulin.
Thank you very much, Merle. We have a lot coming up for you at halftime, including a feature on a Southwest Conference basketball official that is a real hit in Arizona. Plus, we'll have highlights of Texas Tech's win over Texas A&M and scores from around the country. We'll be back after these messages and a word from the Jefferson Pilot Companies.
There's a certain Southwest spirit.
This is what we call our Quicket machine. It allows you to buy a ticket in about 30 seconds.
There's a certain Southwest style.
Just take your credit card and run it through the machine like this. Just like this.
There's a certain Southwest flair.
Patty, what's wrong with this machine?
Card's expired, Herb.
Oh.
We're Southwest Airlines, keeping fares low and spirits high for you.
Welcome to the financial supermarket.
Squeeze these software stocks. They're solid. Your future lies in pork bellies.
In this world of confusing financial options, you don't have a chance if you don't have a plan. And that's where a Jefferson Standard agent can help with insurance and other financial services, plus the knowledge to put together a plan that makes sense. Financial services from Jefferson Standard. Our business is your future.
Here we all are again. Now I can say I knew you when.
Picture it on Kodacolor VR films, Kodak's sharpest, most dazzling color print films ever.
We really were ahead. You know you haven't changed a bit. Looking fine as time goes by.
Kodak, because time goes by.
All right, take 5.
Say, let me volunteer you beach nut.
Now, you're going to like that balanced taste.
Balanced?
You betcha. Some chewing tobaccos lean to the sweet side, while others lean to the harsh side, even bite. But my beech nut's got balanced taste. Just right.
Give me some of that balanced taste. I'm tired of traveling.
Balanced taste. That's beech nut red and refreshing wintergreen.
We're at halftime at Reunion Arena in Dallas with Arkansas leading SMU 31-20 at halftime. It will be an interesting final tomorrow no matter who plays because Texas Tech has beaten both Arkansas and SMU twice during the regular season. Let's take a look at the pairings one more time and show you what happened this afternoon. In the earlier game, it was Texas Tech over Texas A&M. 72-63, Bubba Jennings 23 points. And of course right now Arkansas SMU, the two winners will be playing tomorrow afternoon right here at Reunion Arena, and that final will get underway at 2 o'clock. Now for more halftime, let's go over to Merle and Dan. Well, we've got some scores coming up. First is Georgia Tech over Duke in the ACC semifinals, 75-64. Also around the country, North Carolina State, as North Carolina State on top at halftime. At the Big 8 championship, the Sooners get by Iowa State 73-71. Big game for Billy Tubbs. Metro championship, Memphis State over Florida State 90-86 in overtime. Missouri Valley championship, an upset. Wichita State upsets the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa by 2. Southeast Championship, Alabama leading Auburn at halftime by 1. At the Atlantic 10 Championship, it is Temple over Rutgers by 8. That is a final. And in the ECAC South Championship, it's Richmond over Navy 44-39. That is at intermission. Other games today, Marquette may have earned themselves a bit into the NCAA. They defeated DePaul by 4, 68-64. And finally, Notre Dame over Dayton 80-73. That was in double overtime. Notre Dame might now get a bid to the NCAA Championship. For more on halftime, let's go to Merle Harmon and Dan Spica.
Thank you, Ron. I remember, Dan, what you said before the ball game. We were talking about the matchup between Joe Klein and John Koncak. And you said, that's okay. Everybody's going to keep their eyes on those two big guys, but don't forget the other people. Well, Koncak has 3 points in the first half, and Klein has 4.
Well, people talk about the big men, but coaches know better. They want the guards because the guards control the game. And talking all about the keys of the first half, really when you sum it up, it comes down to tempo. Arkansas has been able to set the tempo of the ball game, keeping it at a half-court game, preventing SMU from going up and down the court. Now, the people who set the tempo are the guards. So let's give credit to the Arkansas guards. They are doing the job tonight.
Here at halftime, Bubba Jennings is being given the award as the Southwest Conference Player of the Year. That's Commissioner Fred Jacoby as Coach Gerald Myers, and Bubba Jennings and Texas Tech will be in action in the championship game tomorrow against the winner of our game that's going on right now, or at least is at halftime, the game between Southern Methodist and Arkansas. Our congratulations to Bubba Jennings as the Southwest Conference Player of the Year. Now,
this is probably premature since we're only at halftime in the ball game today. But let's consider the matchup for the championship game tomorrow for just a moment.
Well, it's interesting regardless of who wins this ball game because, of course, Texas Tech has defeated both teams twice. They have to go in as a favorite. They played like a champion this afternoon, and regardless of who wins here this afternoon in the game we're doing, I look for a tremendous basketball exhibition tomorrow afternoon.
Ron, I know you're having a lot of fun. You're right in the midst of the fans down there, and there's plenty of noise in this one, too.
It is very loud down here. In case you ever doubt about the enthusiasm of any school, just come and sit in the corner here for a couple of days like we have, and your ears will be ringing at night also. You know, one of the Southwest Conference basketball officials is not able to be in the Southwest Conference Tournament this year. He is in Arizona as the hitting instructor for the California Angels. Steve Mark has the story.
For most referees, February means the tail end of the long officiating grind that starts in November. For Larry Stubing, though, this is just the warm-up for what he considers the real season. Stubing is the batting coach for the California Angels baseball team. He's been in baseball all his life. Reffing a game of college hoops is merely therapy.
I first did this to try and stay in shape when I was playing. You know, I started at the high school level and went on to the college level, and when I was still playing a little bit, and then when my playing days were over and I started taking up managing, I took this up full-time in the off-season because I really enjoyed it so much, and they've helped me both. I think it's made me, as far as mentally, an outlook on both, an open mind.
Stubing, appropriately nicknamed Moose, once led the Texas League in batting. Played a total of 5 games with the Angels back in 1967. He's been a AAA manager since then. A couple of weeks ago, Stubing left for the Angels training camp in Mesa, Arizona, but he's shuttled back and forth to finish up the duties in the Southwest Conference. The intermingling of sports hasn't been a problem at all.
Baseball, after we play a game, we play the game. You know, when I was managing or a coach, we replay the game over a beer or a soda or a dinner. And it's the same thing in basketball. We get done here. We don't leave the game here. We go over things that might have been different or we could have done different in the game or what we have to do to improve. It's just the relationship of being with the different guys that you really enjoy the most.
Stubing says he likes the exhilaration of refereeing basketball, but there's no question which game comes first.
I couldn't get out of baseball. I'm 46 years old, and I've been in it for 28 years, and I've made my living at it, and I just enjoy it. I love the challenge of baseball.
You've been around baseball a long time?
A long time. I lost all my hair over it.
We're at halftime with Arkansas leading the Mustangs of SMU by 11. We'll be back with more of halftime right after these words from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports Network.
There's a truck in these parts made for you by Ford with lots of horsepower to give you a kick. It's got 4 on the floor, man, it really roars, and it's known as Ford. Big Stick. It's got muscle to work and good looks for play, and a powerful 6 that'll save you some cash. Big Stick's really fun, and it's easy to drive. Yeah, the truck to pick is the Ford Big Stick. Big Stick. Get a big deal on Big Stick today at your participating Ford dealer.
Watch, look, and listen for your chance to win an Ernest P. Worrell International Fan Club membership. Each weekday at 5, it's the real deal. Only on Channel 40, Channel 29.
Fencing is an investment, beautiful and practical. It increases in value. The Fence Company has been serving the residential fencing needs of Fort Smith and the surrounding area for years. The Fence Company features quality fencing at reasonable prices. Wood fences are made with treated yellow pine guaranteed for 30 years. Chain fences are installed with care and made from the best materials available. Enjoy the pleasures of your home with fencing. Call the Fence Company at 646-0131.
The tournament finals tomorrow at 2 here on Channel 40.
At Texas Tech advancing to only their second finals in postseason history as they defeated the Aggies of Texas A&M this afternoon. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that ball game, and it was a classic to say the least. Just as they did in the second half against Baylor yesterday, the Red Raiders used their inside-outside 1-2 punch to establish the advantage. Inside is Quentin Anderson with a nice touch from the baseline. Outside, of course, it's Bubba Jennings picking up on yesterday's 23-point performance, hitting 6 of 7 in the first half. Tech 6 of 6 out of the chute for 72% in the opening 20 minutes. Jennings, who was just handed out the Southwest Conference Player of the Year honor by the Southwest Conference Press Corps, also can run the break. He takes it all the way for the lay-in. Red Raiders led by as many as 13 in that opening half. For Shelby Metcalf's Aggies, it was a slow start after yesterday's thriller, shooting only 40% in the first half. Winston Cright finally gets untracked inside with a follow-up slam, and A&M trailed Texas Tech by 12 at the half. After intermission, the Red Raiders and Gerald Myers watched that lead shrink, and it was Cright who led the Aggies back, goes up strong inside to score, and also draws the foul. Turned it into a three-point play to cut the Texas Tech lead to 5. Cright with 24 to lead A&M. Aggies' outside game came alive as well. Yesterday's hero Todd Holloway nails the jumper to keep the comeback hopes on track, but as he has done so often, Tech's Bubba Jennings dashed those hopes with the big play. He gets the breakaway pass from Vince Taylor, goes in for the layup, and a 10-point lead. Jennings duplicates his 23 of yesterday to lead the Red Raiders once again. And Bubba finishes off the Aggies with a pass down low to Tony Benford. He had 10 off the bench. Texas Tech wins their 10th in a row, advances to tomorrow's final with a 72-63 decision over Texas A&M. We still have 20 minutes of basketball left as Arkansas leads SMU by 11. And we'll have that and a lot more coming up right after these messages.
The enemy. Rain. A mere 1/8 inch can float your car off the road. Thus the rationale for Vector, Goodyear's unique all-season radio. So advanced, its crisscross tread actually pumps away water to help more tire and your car stay on the road. The Goodyear Vector. It simply performs like no other tire in the world.
I am a Cornish fishing village. I am the ruins of Tintern Abbey. I am the footsteps of William Shakespeare along the River Avon. I am super executive. A special cabin and class of service for the business traveler. I am the best of Great Britain. I am British Caledonian Airways.
Recently, a lot of men have learned about a different, full-flavored, moist snuff. It's made from dark fire tobacco. Aged and cured correctly, it has a rich, full tobacco flavor. Some thought it might cost more. As a matter of fact, a can of Redwood costs a little less. Redwood, a rich, dark fire tobacco for less.
Sometimes statistics don't tell the story of what's going on in the game, but there are two statistics in this game that do tell what's going on.
Obviously, field goal shooting percentage by SMU at 28.6. Now, that's significant. That we've seen. Now, as we look at the rebounding, this surprises me. They're out-rebounding him 20-10, which is 2 for 1, but they're not converting those rebounds. It's one thing to get rebounds, and it's quite another thing to put the ball back in the hole. Individually, balanced scoring, but there's not enough scoring to really make a balance count in this situation. For Arkansas, we talked about it. Mills is having the hot hand. He's got 9, playing an excellent ball game, and got real good support by Irvin coming off the bench with 7 big points for the Razorbacks.
And so we're at halftime. 31-20 Arkansas is leading, and we'll have more action from Reunion Arena in Dallas right after this.
For Dr. Tom Oakner, whose temper kicked off every time his engine ran on, Gulf prescribes the gas with guts to help stop engine run-on. For David Garcia, whose diesel rabbit couldn't get hopping, the Gulf's green filters his fuel for starts quick as a bunny. For Arthur Harris, whose unleaded gasoline left him cold, there's Gulf's gas with guts with extra octane for quick pickups.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you.
I train the best gymnast in the world. I expect perfection. And the only beer that comes up to my standards is light beer from Miller. Light scores a perfect 10 because it is less filling. But even better, you can't beat the taste of life. Yeah? Well, let's see how did I do. Woo, good. Oh, no.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Russian judge.
What kind of person buys a Curtis Mathis stereo?
The technology is unbelievable.
Well, a person who appreciates the quality and engineering of top-of-the-line audio systems.
I'll pay by check every month.
or a person who wants easy monthly payments on the only stereo with a 4-year warranty.
We don't want to buy it.
We want to rent it.
Or someone who doesn't want to rent just any old stereo, but a Curtis Mathis stereo components.
You won't believe your ears.
Today's Southwest Conference basketball game is brought to you by Gulf Oil, where at Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you. By Curtis Mathis, a little more expensive, but worth it. By your local Toyota dealer. By the Jefferson Pilot Company, we help put a brighter face on the future. By British Caledonian Airways, the best of Great Britain with non-stop service from Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston to London and beyond. And by Gillette, makers of Right Guard. You work hard, you need Right Guard.
Well, what a difference a day makes. Last night, Dave Bliss's Mustangs scored 47 points in the first half against Houston. Today they have scored 20 against Arkansas.
Well, that's what tempo can do for you. Houston obviously chose to get in a running game with the Mustangs, something that they do extremely well. Arkansas, on the other hand, said, oh, no, we don't want any part of that. You're going to play our game, and it's going to be played at half court. Now, I think to be successful in this ball game, SMU is going to have to generate some points from their defense. And by that, I mean they're going to have to set the tempo their way. They've got to get some steals. They've got to accelerate defensively and put some points on the boards from the defensive effort.
Arkansas's ball of the alternating possession rule as we start the second half. Reggie Pink and Terry Williams are starting for SMU in the second half. Joe Klein held to 4 points in the first half. Konkak, his counterpart, held to 3. Last night, SMU's starting 5 were all in double figures in scoring. Freeman and Klein worked together. The turnaround jump won't go, and Terry Williams way up there for the rebound.
And I think it's worth mentioning one more time, Earl, that we're playing these games without a 45-second shot clock, because I fully expect that aspect of the game is going to come into play before this one is over this afternoon.
Reggie Pink takes advantage of a start here in the second half by getting his first bucket. So Pink is on the scoreboard for SMU.
But he's not an inexperienced player for SMU, even though he hasn't played much this year. He garnered a lot of time during his freshman, sophomore, junior year. So he's got experience. He's an excellent defensive player. He's got some strength. He's got quickness. And as you see, he's on William Mills, so that tells you what Dave Bliss thinks of his defensive abilities.
31-22 Arkansas, 18 and a half minutes to go in the ball game. Klein and Konkak pushing off foul.
I think as long as SMU stays in the man-to-man, you can expect Arkansas to get a lot of motion, but eventually get the ball into Joe Klein, because it's going to be a one-on-one situation, as you're going to look at right here. You see, John's not getting any help with Klein this time, and it's going to be difficult to get help on him in that one-on-one situation.
Valentine, close range, Konkak rebounding. And here come the Mustangs with Butch Moore leading the offense. They've got Williams back underneath. Konkak drops back there as they get double up back under the bucket. That leaves Wright on the wing to the left and Pink to the right. Williams coming high as he alternates with Konkak and Wright. Let's fly. Very Wright with his first field goal of this half, his third of the game.
Very important for SMU to get off to a good start this half. If they don't play well the first 5 or 6 minutes, I think it's over with. If they can mount their charge right now and start coming back, I think they're in business.
Klein working against Konkak, lays it in, and Klein earned that one.
Yes, he did, but Klein also hurt himself in that effort. I don't know what he did. He came down awfully hard. We may see as he gets back up here. Yeah, see, you've got another isolated one-on-one situation. Arkansas is going to go to him, I think, on every given situation. All right, right now we're live, and Joe's up and he's running, and I think he's bruised a little bit, but yeah, it looks like he's got a thigh bruise, and that's a big thigh to be bruising, but I think he'll probably be all right. It's better in this situation if he continues moving than sitting down.
Looked like his leg kind of collapsed under him there. Konkak trying to take it away, and a mad scramble and a whistle and a foul.
See who is that on the floor? Valentine Charles. Valentine committed that foul.
That's a big one. That's number 4 on Valentine. We've got 17.5 minutes to play.
Yeah, they can ill afford to put him on the bench for a long period of time. Lang's coming in for him. We've said it time and time again, Lang is going to be a great one, but he does not, at this particular point in his career, fill Valentine's shoes.
Valentine is out. Andrew Lang, who's got some big shoes to fill next year, comes on in for Arkansas. SMU to inbound. Wright comes out to Moore, and they move the ball quickly to Pink. To the opposite side. Butch Moore has the open shot. Will not go for him. Contact, a big follow, a big block by Joe Klein, and Wright comes up with the basketball. Goes into contact and scores.
Yeah, that was excellent effort. John was thwarted in his first attempt. He didn't stand around and pout and bemoan his fate. He stayed with it and was rewarded with a good basket, and they needed it at that particular time.
Wright just missed a steal. Now Williams has a 3-on-1 with Freeman covering the right lane, but a whistle stopping play and a foul called back up court.
And that foul stopped what was inevitably a sure two-point play by SMU.
Mike Ratliff is coming into the game now for Arkansas.
SMU now is causing some things to happen. They're not allowing Arkansas to operate as smoothly as they were the entire first half. They've taken Arkansas out of their rhythm, and they're establishing their own rhythm. That's essential for them.
That foul back up court was against Hutchinson, who just stole the ball, but he went out of bounds with the ball. So SMU will take it. SMU has outscored Arkansas 6-2 here in the early going in the second half. Arkansas still with a lead of 33-26.
And Arkansas is beginning to do what we call break down a little bit. The fourth foul on Valentine, a little travel, walking, doing things like that they weren't doing in the first half.
In and out for Carl Wright. Contact comes up with the rebound. We've got a jump ball. Alternating possession belongs to SMU.
The battle of the Giants, and here we go one more time. Konkak working inside on position. You see him move Klein out. Now that is an excellent example of how to get offensive board position. You just saw John Konkak do it the way it was designed to be done.
William Mills is back in for Ratliff for Arkansas, as SMU trails it by 26-33. 16.5 minutes left to play in this semifinal game to see who will play Texas Tech for the title tomorrow. Williams, and Williams gets it, and a foul was called.
SMU is exercising much more patience on offense this half. They're again taking a page out of the Arkansas offensive book, and it is paying off for them.
So the Razorbacks now have 3 team fouls. SMU has 1. Lang was charged with a foul, his first, and Terry Williams is on the line.
SMU doing what they have to do, making their charge at the start of the second half.
SMU has now outscored Arkansas 9-2 here in this second half.
Johnny Fuller one more time back in for Butch Moore, giving the little fellow a break.
So it's 33-29 as the Mustangs have put on a move here in the early part of this second half.
Full court pressure by SMU, not really designed to take a ball away, more designed to get them out of their rhythm. That is so important. If you can take a team out of their rhythm, you've really accomplished a great deal.
Reggie Pink has Johnny Fuller and Ali Freeman in the matchup there. Johnny Fuller comes out after Hutchinson.
Again, we're looking at a man-to-man.
Hey, I'll tell you, they play it pretty well, don't they?
They're doing it extremely well. You notice the switch was made. Williams is now on Klein. Contact on Lang. Makes it much easier for Contact to play off the ball and really play one-man zone around that basket.
Freeman looking, and Mills inside, back to the outside, and into Klein against Williams, and it will not go in. Contact rebound.
Boy, did Klein work hard to get low post position that time. He and Williams are really getting after it.
Now SMU down the floor, and if they score, you can look for an Arkansas timeout probably, as SMU is on the move, and a whistle and traveling is called.
I'll tell you, though, it's a great coaching move by Dave Bliss in changing that assignment. That keeps John away from unnecessary fouls and allows him to play goaltender back there. Awfully good move by Dave Bliss.
Dave Bliss unhappy. The one official called to foul, the other traveling. It's going to be traveling.
Yeah, let's see what we're going to see here. He's got the ball on the floor. Oh, yes, no question about it. He brought it up like a halfback carrying a football and continued to move. That's traveling.
We've got a timeout with 15:20 left to go in the ball game. Arkansas 33, SMU 29, and we'll be back after this word from Toyota and a word from your local station.
There are over 1 million Toyota truck owners out there. Have you ever met an unhappy one?
I haven't. Not me. Never.
Independent research ranks Toyota trucks unsurpassed in mechanical reliability. Better than Nissan, Chevy S10, better than Ford Ranger. No wonder 95% of all the Toyota trucks sold are still running hard. No wonder Toyota is #1.
No wonder to me.
The more you compare, the more you'll see. It's Toyota, not the other guys.
I am Paris and the Eiffel Tower. I am Amsterdam, her canals. I am Geneva and the Swiss Alps. I am Frankfurt and the castles along the Rhine. I am the airline that takes you beyond London to Europe. I am the best of Great Britain. I am British Caledonian Airways.
You hear a lot about individual retirement accounts involving saving on taxes and earning a huge nest egg for retirement. City National believes in the value of an IRA, but there's more than tax savings and earnings to consider. Things like the availability of IRA loans, premium rates with 6 months to 5 years maturities, and City National's guaranteed minimum IRA rate of 9%. City National's IRAs, when the extras are important.
You and City National Bank.
So it's 33-29 with 15:15 left to play in the ball game, and Arkansas in possession.
And we're looking at a revived SMU Mustang team. Boy, what a difference it makes to put some points on the board.
They've outscored Arkansas by 9-2 here in the second half.
And look at Williams battle Klein in that low post position. That time he got caught for grabbing, but boy, they are going after it. Beef on beef.
So 2 fouls against Terry Williams, who will no doubt inherit the spot vacated by John Koncak for SMU next year.
SMU can make this defensive switch, which they did, as long as Ballantyne is on the bench. As we look at some statistics right now, SMU, well, you can tell a difference from 28-5 to 57-1. Arkansas, on the other hand, just the reverse, 60% shooting in the first half, down into the 20s in the second half. As long as Ballantyne's on the bench, Merle, SMU can get away with this. But if Ballantyne should come in, of course, then they have to make the switch back, Koncak on Klein. So right now, it's really playing this situation Arkansas is faced with is really playing into SMU's hands.
Carl Wright really sticking on Byron Irvin as Irvin tries to get loose. He's down under the baseline, reverses and scores.
Just a great move that time. Williams was there, but he was afraid, I think, to take a shot at that for committing a foul.
So it's 35-29, Arkansas. Reggie Pink looking for Koncak. They come out to Wright.
These two teams have played in this tournament only twice before, and in both games, Arkansas was victorious.
14 minutes to go in the ball game. Now Williams down low, Koncak out high, takes the outside shot. It's off the rim. Williams trying to tip it in, and Cannon Lang clears it out for Arkansas.
Yeah, I was interested in watching that when Koncak came out to the high post position. Klein conceded the shot, but you don't concede that shot to John. He can hit it from there.
Foul on Johnny Fuller of SMU.
Now Fuller's attempting to give the Arkansas guard some of their own medicine, putting on that tough man-to-man D.
William Mills will inbound the ball.
As we saw a nervous Dave Bliss up and down in front of his bench.
Big mistake by Arkansas. Back over the 10-second stripe, the midcourt stripe, back and forth.
Again, I use the word breaking down, Merle. They are breaking down a little bit this half. They didn't do it the first half, and that's allowing SMU to come back into this ball game.
Koncak battles for the layup, but is fouled. I believe Andrew Lang will get this.
It was Lang, and again, that's going to have to be construed as hitting with the body because I thought he had a pretty good block as far as his hand was concerned on the ball. Yeah, we're going to get an opportunity to see that again. Good pass inside to John. Now watch Lang come from the weak side. Yeah, has to be construed as body bumping body again because he got the ball. He didn't get the hand.
Konkak for a pair, and he's got the first one. 4 team fouls against Arkansas, 3 against SMU in this half. We have 13:37 to go, and it's 35-30 Arkansas. The Hogs led at the half by 11 at 31-20.
It certainly would help SMU if John Konkak would get into the offense. He needs to go to work.
He's got 7 points now. Reggie Pink will go to the bench. Johnny Fuller will replace him. Pink did his job.
Pink's an excellent defensive ball player, and look forward to seeing him a little more in this ball game.
Now SMU putting pressure in the backcourt. They're trying to trap back there, and they've got a 2-on-1 at the other end, and Irvin gets the shot up there.
But you see, even though he scored, that type of game is to SMU's advantage. You notice they had a 2-on-1. It's almost impossible to turn that down. That's what SMU is gambling on. They want to accelerate the pace of this ball game, and the press is going to do it. It's going to give up some easy baskets, but it's going to accelerate the tempo.
Dave Bliss takes a key timeout. He's not going to let, if he can, Arkansas establish the momentum after that last basket and the turnover.
Yeah, it's a good point, Merle, because they have developed and have the momentum this second half. SMU, that is.
13:15 left to play. Arkansas leading it by 6, and we'll return right after this.
All right, take 5.
Say, let me volunteer you beach nut.
Now, you're going to like that balanced taste.
Balanced?
You betcha. It's untuned tobaccos lean to the sweet side, while others lean to the harsh side. Even bite. But my beech nuts got balanced taste. Just right.
Give me some of that balanced taste. I'm tired of traveling.
Balanced taste. That's beech nut red and refreshing wintergreen.
No matter how hard you work, Right Guard can help keep you smelling good for up to 24 hours.
You work hard, you need Right Guard.
Gillette Foamy Gel. The gel that gives you more lubricants, better beard setup, more lubricants. For closeness and comfort, get Gillette Foamy Gel, the gel that gives you more.
Remember to stay tuned to the end of the game when we'll pick our Curtis Mathis player of the game. Curtis Mathis, a little more expensive, but worth it. In the Atlantic Coast Conference semifinal, North Carolina win over North Carolina State, so the Tar Heels go to the championship game against Georgia Tech tomorrow. Georgia Tech, North Carolina State, all tied for the conference championship during the regular season. 9-5 record.
And during this timeout, Merle, Dave Bliss has put Reginald Pink back in the ball game for Johnny Fuller. So he's obviously quite pleased with what he's getting out of Pink this afternoon.
So the Mustangs of Dave Bliss, Eddie Sutton, and Bill Brown, his assistant, or congratulations to Bill again. He'll be leaving Arkansas for the head coaching job at the University of California, Sacramento. 37-31, Arkansas with the ball and the lead with 13:09 to play.
Now this is going to be interesting. Kyle Wright going out that far to challenge Hutchinson. Hutchinson's either going to beat him or Kyle's going to steal the ball. It's not going to be an even situation, I guarantee that.
Irvin trying to come down the baseline, then going to Klein, and look who steals the ball. Carl Wright.
Carl Wright in the right place at the right time.
So the Mustangs can now cut the lead to 4. Remember, they were down by 11 at the half, shooting under 30% for the first half.
And defense has done it. The man-to-man defense has done the job for them.
And the Mustangs come out of there with the ball.
Yes, they did, and I'll tell you what, that was Reginald Pink, and boy, do I like what he's doing this afternoon. You know, he's a senior, so he knows that his career could come to an abrupt halt. He's doing a good job. He's motivating the other players. He's hustling hard, playing the good D. They're really getting their mileage out of him this afternoon.
12:15 left to play in the game. Moore drives by Konkak, goes to Konkak. Lang blocks the shot, but he fouled him.
Real good give-and-go basketball that time by the SMU Mustangs. Much more patient this half. Consequently, the offense is performing much better. Let's see if we can pick that up. There it is. Butch Moore penetrating. John Konkak sets the pick, then rolls off the pick towards the basket. Moore gives him the ball, and here we see Konkak on the free throw line one more time.
5 team fouls against Arkansas, 3 against SMU. Konkak hit 2 out of 2 his last trip, but misses this one. Merle Herman, Dan Spica, and Ron Thulin with you from Reunion in Dallas. Didn't get either one of them, but a big offensive board by Pink, and it whoa! Klein rebounds and is fouled by Konkak.
Now that's got to be construed as a frustration foul. To have him go to the line and miss 2 free throws, that in itself is an experience. And then to watch Pink's layup do everything but go in. I think John was just so totally frustrated that he lashed out and committed the foul.
4 fouls sends him to the bench with 12:07 to go in the game.
Now this has really got to hurt. Now Konkak just normally doesn't miss 2, but watch the effort by Pink. Look at him go inside and struggle. Everything but having the ball drop into the twine. And of course, Big Joe Klein on the ball as usual.
Larry Davis is in for John Konkak for Southern Methodist. Johnny Fuller ball hawking against Hutchinson, trying to knock the ball away. Hutchinson comes down the lane, stops, but he travels.
He dragged his pivot foot is what he did.
Just couldn't put the brakes on fast enough.
That's right.
Butch Moore will come in now for Johnny Fuller for Southern Methodist. Butch, the junior from Newburgh, New York. Teammate of Terry Williams in high school.
Well, if Arkansas is going to make their run, this would be the time with Konkak on the bench, and with 11:48 left, I don't anticipate we're going to see him anytime soon.
Butch Moore hits the lane. It's all blocked up there, and a foul on Klein. I think it's on Klein.
Yeah, they're not moving down to the opposite end, so I assume that you're right.
So Klein gets his second foul. 16 fouls now against Arkansas, 4 against SMU.
For the type of defense we have been seeing throughout this ball game, there really haven't been very many fouls called.
Butch Moore comes down the alley, and the ball laid off to Pink, and Pink tries to hit, misses, and it is tipped in by Larry Davis.
Larry Davis. You've got to have weak side board play if you're going to be successful. You just cannot count on all shots going in.
It took SMU over 2 minutes to cut that lead to 4, which they did without Arkansas scoring.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference how much time they take as long as Arkansas doesn't score in the meantime.
Now we've got a whistle on Klein. Nope, on Lang. So Lang now has 4 fouls.
All right, now SMU goes to the line. That should be Arkansas' 7th foul.
So now the march to the line. Let's see if the game's going to be won at the free throw line. In the first game today, we had a phenomenal performance by Phil Wallace of Texas Tech on the free throw line as he had 14 out of 16 for 22 points as he led Texas Tech to a 72-63 victory over Texas A&M to advance to the championship game tomorrow. Lang is now out for Arkansas. Byron Irvin is in to replace him.
And so is Charles Ballantyne. And this creates a little different defensive problem for SMU. And we've got a discussion now with the officials and the players. Well, everybody seems to be getting into the act. I guess we'll find out what it's all about here shortly.
It's 1-1. Yeah, they were talking. Maybe they're talking about a player control foul or something.
No, Mike Tanko, the referee, had signaled 1-1 immediately upon signaling a foul, so that had to change. I don't know what they were discussing. As we see Eddie Sutton, who is not overly happy at the moment.
So Butch Moore on the free throw line hits them both. Eddie might have said, hey, the wrong guy is shooting the free throw, that somebody else got fouled.
But that's a possibility. That could well be.
And guess what we have now? You're looking at it, a 2-point lead for Arkansas. It's been 2 different ball games. Arkansas in the first half and Southern Methodist in the second half.
Well, you've got Ballantyne into the ball game now, so that gives the offense for Arkansas a great deal of more versatility.
Wright coming up behind on Kenny Hutchinson trying to steal the ball, but he fouled him. So Wright has his second foul. That's a 15th foul against SMU.
Joe Klein grabbing the towel. He's got a bloody mouth. Perhaps caught an elbow a little earlier. Caught something at any rate. Now look for Arkansas one more time to continue to go into Joe Klein because, of course, Konkak is on the bench with 4 fouls.
Mills goes to Klein for the turnaround. It's down.
They go to him and he responds. It's kind of like a broken record, isn't it?
He had 16 points in the game yesterday. He's got 8 in this one. Arkansas goes back to a 4-point lead. We have 10 minutes and 35 seconds left to play. We'll be televising the championship game for you tomorrow afternoon. We hope you'll be with us. It should be a dandy. Texas Tech, which won the regular conference championship, will be in the championship game of this tournament. That ball lost by Larry Davis.
Yeah, he got it in a good position, low post where he likes to get it, but he put it to the floor, and going to the floor, he just lost control of it.
Arkansas needs the basket here.
And guess who's coming in right now with over 10 minutes to play? John Konkak. So Dave Bliss is not taking any chances. He knows there's no tomorrow as far as this tournament is concerned, and he's putting his ace in.
9:55 left to play. Arkansas leading at 39-35. Hutchinson trying to lose Carl Wright.
Williams doing a good job.
Butch Moore looking for his man. There he is, and the shot up there is not good, and Pink rebounds it for Southern Methodist. Reggie is playing tough.
Boy, he's doing everything but putting the ball in a hole. He's never been a good scorer, so we shouldn't expect him to do that, but every other phase of his game has just been excellent this afternoon.
Carl Wright scores! 8 points for Wright, and again Arkansas's lead has been cut to 2.
Yeah, of course, Carl is the type of player that can take this game over, and this is the type of game that he likes to excel in, and maybe that basket is the one he needed to open him up.
Johnny Fuller getting ready to come in for SMU along with Konkak.
You know, really, the Mustangs are playing quite well without Konkak. They're not doing badly at all.
Klein, they double team him as Pink moves in to help out Terry Williams. Now back into Klein again, fighting under the basket for the left. It won't go in for him, but a foul is called. And now Konkak and Fuller will come in for Southern Methodist.
Now, they're not even, Arkansas, as we're going to see here, are not even disguising what they're attempting to do. They're just waiting for the big man to make his move, trying to get him open somehow. And, of course, they're doing it most every time down the floor. Not always is he coming up with a basket, but if it's not a basket, you can look for him on the free throw line where he is again now.
Terry Williams got the foul. Butch Moore and Larry Davis go to the bench. Johnny Fuller has come in along with Konkak for Southern Methodist. That's Larry Davis.
Free throws might well play, as they do so often, the most important role in this ball game because only a 2-point lead, 8:49 left, and you better believe that if Arkansas maintains even a very small lead, that Eddie's going to go to his delay ball game.
Klein is 71% free throw shooter, 2 out of 3 today. 40-37. Arkansas 9 points in this half in 11 minutes.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give credit for that. A large measure of it, at any rate, to SMU's defense. They've really turned it around this half with that defense.
SMU came out and outscored Arkansas 9-2 immediately.
My goodness, Merle. I was watching Konkak and Klein that time, and Konkak bumped him and moved him about 3 feet, and he's got 4 fouls on him.
And Arkansas takes over on the steal. You could hear the place shake a little bit when those two guys collided.
They do create a little disturbance.
Mills into Klein. Williams has him defensively.
There's no disguise whatsoever what they're attempting to do. Just get the ball into Joe. SMU is going to have to compensate for that. They're going to have to overplay, get away from their men because Arkansas really is turning all shots down. All they're doing is getting the ball inside, so they're going to have to take some liberties on the other 4 men and try to get back and help on Joe Klein.
Carl Wright left-handed in from the right side.
The SMU bench is looking for a foul on that situation, but I really didn't see any.
42-39, Arkansas, 7:35 left to play in this semifinal game. Johnny Fuller has Hutchinson as SMU has played man-to-man after being down 31-20. They actually switched before the first half ended. They started showing it. That's Irvin.
I'll tell you, he's responding to the challenge. He and Carl Wright are going after each other. Oh, about 10 seconds before that shot attempt, Irvin put Wright on his backside, and Wright came back with a vengeance. But I'll tell you, Irvin certainly didn't back off. He's from the streets of Chicago. He's one tough kid.
That ball knocked away by Byron Irvin as he goes banging into the scorer's table across the way.
Well, he's the guy we're just talking about as being a tough kid. I'm telling you, he's a player. He is a player.
And a timeout is called here with 7 minutes and 5 seconds left to play.
There's the penetration, and there's the strip by Irvin, and look at him go after that ball. Head first. Oh, you like to see that.
7 minutes and 5 seconds left of this semifinal game. 44-39 Arkansas. Back after this word from the Jefferson Pilot Companies.
What is Jefferson Pilot? I don't know. What is it?
It's a break dance done to the tune of one of our radio stations. It's a welcome check delivered by one of our insurance agents. It's Bill Martin's retirement home, made possible by our financial services. And it's the big game broadcast over one of our TV stations. Jefferson Pilot is many companies, all helping to put a brighter face on the future.
For Tom Casey, whose gasoline chickened out every time he tried to pass. Now, as always, there's the gas with guts with its extra octane to help you accelerate, climb, and pass without laying an egg. For Morton Mitchell, who demands the right gas, but at the right price, Gulf Self-Service makes more sense for less sense.
Gulf, everything we do makes driving better for you.
We talked about the battle between the big men and how tough it is. Take a look for yourself. Now, Konkak has got 4 fouls, and look at him work on Klein. Look at that. That was a right elbow to the jaw, sending Klein back about 10 feet. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. You talk about a non-contact sport. It's not basketball.
Klein and Irvin are the only players to score for Arkansas in this half. Klein has 7, Irvin has 6. SMU has outscored Arkansas 19-13 here in the second half.
I give SMU a great deal of credit for coming back. They did an excellent job. Look at the rebounding situation. My heavens, 31-12. That I really find that difficult to believe.
Well, and considering the score, the fact that SMU's behind.
Yeah, that's right.
But SMU shot less than 30% in the first half when they well, in fact, they doubled the rebounds against Arkansas in the first half.
Yeah, that's true. Had they put some of those initial rebound attempts back in, they wouldn't have that many rebounds to show. All right, let's go. Let's see what the Carl Wright show is going to produce for us now.
Wright hooking it to Konkak, and here comes a 3-on-2 breakout, make it 4-on-2 for Arkansas. Irvin, and the basket is good, and he is fouled.
Yeah, it's going to be a potential 3-point possibility here for Arkansas, and what a great time, as far as the Razorbacks are concerned, to have that occur.
So Johnny Fuller, I believe, gets the foul. Let's look.
Boy, you think they hammered Konkak when he got that pass inside? At least 3 guys had a piece of his action. There's the pass to Irvin. Irvin is a smart, streetwise player. He took it immediately to the board, knowing he's going to get clobbered, but he made the basket anyhow, and is rewarded with a free throw.
Fuller getting the foul. And Byron Irvin, 15 points. He had 18 in the game earlier this year at Moody Coliseum. This one goes for him. And that, by the way, was his high mark for the year with those 18 points. So he's moving in on that. And Arkansas has increased its lead to 47-39.
You know, you get the idea, Merle, that even though Arkansas is losing Klein and Ballantyne, that cupboard is far from empty. They're going to have themselves quite a basketball team the next several years.
Carl Wright, left hand, a little bit short. Williams to follow. He's got it.
Well, what they're doing now that they didn't do the first half is they're making things happen. They're not standing outside waiting for something to happen. They are taking the initiative, SMU that is, and they're making things. They are creating.
6-point lead for Arkansas with 6:17 left to play in the ball game. Konkak bats the ball away, picked up by Byron.
And it's an offensive foul on Joe Klein. I'll tell you what, give Terry Williams a great deal of credit for drawing that foul. He saw what happened. We'll see it again, what happened also. Konkak tries to make the interception, so he pulls away from Joe, and Terry, in the meantime, sees what's happened. He moves in gets good defensive position. Klein really wasn't aware that he was behind him. That's what caused the foul. Good play by Terry Williams.
No basket. 3 fouls now. Byron Irvin had come into the play there. Here's Hutchinson ball hawking against Butch Moore, and an offensive foul against Terry Williams.
But that surely could have gone either way. And of course, Dave Bliss is going bananas on the sidelines. I don't blame him, because that one could have gone either way. Had it gone the other way, that would have been a foul on Joe Klein. We'll show it to you. You make up your mind which way you would have called it. There's the pass. There's the collision. What happened? I'll tell you what, that definitely could have been called either way, in my opinion.
Well, Klein knew what to do. He hit the deck in a hurry.
Did a pretty good job of acting, you might say.
We're watching all this exciting action on our monitors supplied by Curtis Mathis. Curtis Mathis, a little more expensive, but worth it. Eddie Sutton giving his team instructions from the bench.
With 5:48 left, Arkansas with a 6-point lead. I really believe if they maintain this lead, they're anywhere close to it at about 4 minutes, you're going to see a timeout, and then you're going to watch Arkansas come back into what Eddie calls his 5 game. That means they let the air out of the ball the rest of the way.
William Mills, no. Concac, yes, on the rebound. Peck takes it down the floor to hurry for Southern Methodist. And the shot from about 17 feet, a little bit short of the mark. Williams, and there for the rebound, lost it. The mad scramble is onto the ball. Carl Wright gets it. And finally,
two teams want to win this ball game, do you?
Hutchinson gets the whistle.
And everybody else hits the deck at one time or another. All right, there's the shot that started it all. There's the rebound. Boom, taken out of his hands on the floor. Carl Wright dives for it. Concac bends for it. Carl tries to get it back. He loses it. Irvin dives for it. I can't keep with Allison Merle. This is too fast for me.
Woo! A quick hand by Byron Irvin. Good thing he missed.
You're right. Boy, I'll tell you, you talk about furious action. We saw it.
Pink for a 1-and-1. Excellent camera work by our crew and our.
Yeah, we've got some good active camera work tonight. They're getting some great shots this afternoon, I should say.
Valentine gets the rebound after the missed foul shot. 47-41 Arkansas. 5:15 left to go in the ball game.
SMU needs to close the gap, if for no other reason than to perhaps prevent Arkansas from going into the delay.
Concac, and the shot is good. Or rather, Klein. Concac in there to try to do what he could, but he's carrying the 4 fouls, and he can't be quite as aggressive.
Yeah, obviously, it's better to concede 2 points and to foul himself out of the ball game, because 4:45 left, still plenty of time for SMU to come back. Here comes the timeout called by Dave Bliss.
4 minutes, 42 seconds left to play. Joe Klein, 13 points for Arkansas now for Eddie Sutton. And it's a 49-41 Arkansas lead. And now we'll see what kind of strategy that Arkansas will employ for the rest of the ball game.
This is the Curtis Mathis satellite antenna system. It looks like other satellite dishes, and it lets you receive all the great programming like other satellite dishes. But there is a difference. This satellite system is from Curtis Mathis. We'll install it, arrange financing, and we're the only company that backs every part with our exclusive 4-year limited warranty. The Curtis Mathis satellite antenna system. What makes it different is that this piece of the future is from a company you've trusted for years.
Technology is taking over the world. You can keep up with it, or you're going to be left behind. That's why I joined the Army.
From microchip circuitry to laser technology, the world's largest school for high-tech skills is the Army.
Bravo, go active. Bravo, lock, 05.
Be all that you can be.
I don't intend to get left behind.
Find your future in the Army.
Tomorrow, the championship game at 2 o'clock on all of these stations. It'll be Texas Tech, the Southwest Conference champion, trying to win both big prizes, the league title and the tournament title. In other ball games, Alabama beats Auburn in the Southeastern Championship. Let's turn that around. Auburn beat Alabama. They came back. Alabama had been leading. And the WAC championship game at halftime, UTEP, a lead over San Diego State. The ECAC, that's the Southern Division. Navy, a good ball club this year, beating Richmond. And here at at Reunion Arena in Dallas. Joe Klein and the Arkansas Razorbacks against John Konkak and the Southern Methodist Mustangs. Mustangs with the ball down by 8 with 4 minutes and 38 seconds left to go in this ball game. Right moving, right shooting, right hitting.
I have to believe that was by design. I'm sure during the timeout that Dave Bliss took, he gave instructions to Carl to not take over, but Carl, do your thing. You're the man that can bring us back, so go ahead and do it.
Williams is flagged for a foul. He got, when he was putting the chase on, he had a knee out there.
Yeah, that's what Bobby Dabler indicated, that he stuck his knee out. I don't think it was intentional, but intentional or not, it's a foul on Williams.
And Williams will be out of the ball game with 5 fouls with 4:19 left to play, and that really puts the heat on Konkak. And let's see if Arkansas will go to work on him, because he's got 4 fouls also.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Eddie's going to do, whether he lets the out of the ball or he's satisfied with what they're getting offensively. That means going into Joe Klein. Now he knows that Konkak can't do much about it. Now with Williams out, that may definitely dictate his strategy.
Larry Davis is back into the ball game. We've got 1 game to go, and again, kudos to our hard-working crew covering this entire tournament for you. They spent an awful lot of hours behind the scenes. All of our technicians, cameramen, our veteran executive producer, Don McGuire, along with our directors, John Crow and Don Hoagland. We needle Don. He's traveled all over the world as a producer of some of the great sporting events, and he has personally produced every game in this tournament. Valentine. So he has 8 for the game. 4:14 left to play in the ball game. 51-43. Arkansas into the lead.
And SMU needs offense.
Wright trying to get 2. Foul on Klein. And the Incredible Hulk goes bananas.
Yeah, that's number 4. He is, you know, now that again, that's interesting with his 4th foul. Again, that may change whatever Eddie Sutton's decided. We haven't had an opportunity to see yet. And before we elaborate on that, let's look at the foul situation. Well, you know, between those 2 guys, it really amounts to, when are you going to blow the whistle? Because if you're going to call that tight, they both have 25 fouls on them in the course of a game like this. But getting back to what I was starting out saying, we don't really know yet what Eddie has planned offensively. But whatever it is, it might well change now. I don't know if he would want to risk getting the ball inside offensively to Klein and letting him go to the basket and perhaps commit his 5th foul in a charging situation. So let's take a good look and see exactly what they plan on doing.
As Konkak missed the free throw, Ali Freeman stepped in there to get a very big board. So now the Klein-Konkak war goes back, and a foul is called on Butch Moore. A moment ago, you saw the facial expression on Joe Klein. I don't think I've ever met a more intense competitor, a guy that's in the game every second than Joe Klein.
You're right, and it's particularly unusual for a big man. Now, you go back in all your years of watching basketball, how many big men have you seen that gave off emotion like Joe Klein? Normally when you see that, it's a smaller player, but very seldom. Usually your big players are really stoic individuals. Definitely not like Joe Klein.
Well, Joe Klein doesn't want to give up anything. Wright gets that rebound off the missed free throw by Ali Freeman. 3:49 left to play. Arkansas 51-43, hoping to advance to the championship game tomorrow. Carl Wright from way outside, short of the mark, and Konkak rebounds, but a foul is called.
It'll be important to see when it was called. Before or after or during. Called before the shot attempt.
Byron Irvin gets the foul, and Konkak to the line.
On the line for 2. Well, the last time, was it the last time, the time before he had 2 and missed? I looked for him to make both of these.
Konkak hits that one. He had missed 3 in a row. He has 8 points for the game.
Momentary delay there, something on the floor, but it's all taken care of now.
51-44 Arkansas, 3:41 left in this one. He's got them both. 9 points for Konkak.
Full court pressure by SMU.
51-45.
That's one way to relieve that pressure, isn't it? Throw it to Joe Klein, knowing that Konkak is not going to come up and pressure him with 4 fouls on him.
Byron Irvin. Reggie Pink goes after him. Byron Irvin, ball knocked away by contact, picked up by Irwin. Klein bats it over to Mills.
Arkansas staying in their regular offense, already satisfied with what he's getting.
Butch Moore fouls Freeman.
Let's see, Allie Freeman. Yeah, pretty good man if you're going to put somebody on the free throw line. He's only shooting 47.1% on the line.
Look at the fouls. Look at the contact that we've had today.
And how many more could they have called if they were going to really call this one tight? I'm glad they let him play.
Well, they'd had to call somebody out of the stands to play, I think.
That's probably right.
I mean, these two clubs, well, I don't have to tell you if you watched throughout. You talk about aggressive. Like tigers at each other.
Yeah, getting after it.
Missed. Valentine loses the rebound to Reggie Pink. And SMU.
Well, the way he shot that free throw, I think he's going to come out of the ball game because he was awfully tight on the line. There wasn't any follow through. SMU certainly noted that. They're going to have to foul quite obviously, I believe, and that's the man they're going to foul. Watch Eddie Sutton perhaps try to get him out of the ball game.
Butch Moore, will it go? It will not. And Irvin rips that ball over the board for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Now we have 2:53 left to play in the game. We got a 2-on-1. Valentine fouled by Wright.
Great block by Carl Wright, but the official stated he got the ball either on the way down or on top of the cylinder. One or the other. Here comes the outlet pass. Mills is in possession. There goes the fast break, and there's the pass, and there's Carl going up. And from our point of view, I have to say I could have called it either way. One more time. No question. The ball was over the cylinder.
So no foul, but a goaltending call. And at the other end of the floor, we've got a whistle and a foul down there.
Well, that's goodbye to Charles Valentine. He played quite a while with 4 fouls. I believe he had 4, didn't he?
Yep. On my book. I'm not too sure about that anymore with so many fouls being logged today. That's 5.
Yeah, he was just making sure that they knew it. He wasn't going to tell them.
He's trying to hide in the crowd. Stay in the ball game.
Nice gesture by Charles that time, going over shaking hands with Coach Dave Bliss.
So Valentine leaves the game with 8. The class individual from Newport, Arkansas. A senior.
It's always good to keep a game in proper perspective. It is just what it states, a game, and nothing more than that. It's not life and death. It's a game that young men play. Hopefully they enjoy playing it because they give us a lot of enjoyment in watching it.
You said that so well, but how about the war?
What war are you referring to? Well, it applies to everybody but coaches because that's their job. You have to understand now. There you have to draw the line.
The war on the floor. 2:42 left to play in the game.
Yeah, they're just being competitors. It's much more fun to play aggressive and call it a war, call it whatever you want, but that just makes it more exciting.
Butch Moore on the free throw line for SMU. The 5'10 junior from Newport, New York. Nope. Tipped out. Moore's going to get it. SMU needs a quick bucket. Can Wright get it for him? He lays it to Koncak, and he doesn't get it. And the ball is tipped way out front. Byron Irvin takes over. He's got Mills wide open.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to believe that may have been the one.
55-47 Arkansas. Butch Moore driving for the layup, and an offensive foul on Moore.
It's on Butch. I think Butch kind of forgot to look at the clock that time. There's 2 minutes and 20-some seconds left. You don't have to do it that way. All right, one more time. Let's look at this. Here he comes. William Mills doing his thing. Woo! Talk about aggression, huh? Taking it out on the baskets.
Butch with 3 fouls.
I tell you, Butch went down there like he was in a fire drill, like there was absolutely no tomorrow. He didn't look. He just went full speed ahead.
Oh, are we going to have a championship game tomorrow, huh?
Well, one thing about that ball game, whoever plays Texas Tech is going to have to defeat him because Texas Tech is not going to defeat themselves. You're going to have to take it away from them.
Byron Irvin, 17 points off the bench for Irvin. Boy, it's going to be tough picking a player of this game, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we were just discussing that with our producer, and my first inclination was Joe Klein, but he brought up Irvin, and I'll tell you, that's not a bad choice.
Hutchinson almost stole the ball, and Arkansas will get it on the turnover.
Yeah, the tide has definitely turned. Everything is going in Arkansas's favor right now. Butch Moore is giving it all. He's giving it 110%, but I'm afraid it's not going to be enough.
And William Mills leads the applause on the sideline, and Joe Klein comes over and said, "Cool it." He's also telling the official something.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if he was talking to Mills or the official, or as you suggest, perhaps both of them.
Save the smiles and the laughter for after the game.
You better believe it, for after the tournament.
Now Arkansas in possession. Look what Freeman lays it off to Klein, but a foul on contact before the shot.
Well, they got a great surge of confidence a couple minutes ago. And I'll tell you what, they're taking it to him now. And even though Mills is hot dogging a little bit out here, I do believe that they've got this one pretty safely put away.
Konkak out of the game, 5 fouls, 9 points. Arkansas moving its lead to 11, and they're in hog heaven in Reunion Arena.
The only way to describe it, hog heaven, but it's good to remember as far as SMU is concerned, I feel certain that they have a bid to the NCAA, so this is not the end of a tremendously successful season for the Mustangs. They will continue on in NCAA play.
Klein won't go. Offensive board by Freeman, taken away by Carl Wright. Minute 55 left, 58-47 Arkansas. So the Red Raiders are thinking about tomorrow now and thinking Arkansas. Shot missed by Wright. Ball out of bounds to Arkansas.
You know, it's going to be an interesting matchup because the team that gave Arkansas their worst defeats this year, none other than the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the champions of the Southwest Conference.
Pink takes the ball away. Butch Moore, what a fake, but he takes a jolt from William Mills, and Butch Moore is hurt.
They both could be hurt in that situation. Butch fell down and Mills on top of him, but Mills tried to brace himself with his arm, but he, let's see. He apparently looks all right. I can't say the same for Butch right now, however.
William Mills, 6'7", Butch Moore, 5'10".
You're going to see one of the violations of defensive play. Don't leave your feet when you're that far away from the basket on defense. You keep your feet on the floor. Mills violated, and unfortunately, Moore was the recipient, but we see him now on the free throw line, so apparently he's all right.
Butch Moore toughs it out, and Joe Klein came over to shake his hand. Scott Johnson coming back in for Southern Methodist, and Butch Moore will go out. And Johnson will shoot the 1-and-1 as it is judged that Moore, because of the injury, cannot continue.
Right. That's legal.
So Johnson will shoot the 1-and-1, which is going to be sore tomorrow.
You know, normally in this situation you gain an advantage, but no particular advantage in percentages. Both of them shooting close to 80% from the line.
Carl Wright arching high and swish. 14 for Carl Wright. He had 14 yesterday. Southern Methodist takes a timeout. 1:33 seconds left. The Hog fans are ready to celebrate. Their Razorbacks lead at 58-49.
I don't compete anymore, but I still pump iron. So after lifting a few hundred pounds, it's nice to lift one of these. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great, and it's less filling with a third less calories than the regular beer. Now, you know, bodybuilding is hard work, but having a great body has its advantages. It sure makes it easy to pick up guys. Hi, Rodney.
Well, hi there. What's going on here? Hey, honey, how about a lift home, huh? Like beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
The essence of climbing. John Bacher. You gotta know the rock, every inch of it. But what gets you over is a feeling that says you're going all the way. The essence of shaving. This is the Gillette Good News disposable razor. Light, easy to handle, twin blades. But what Good News is really all about is a feeling. A feeling you only get from Gillette. Good News and Good News Pivot from Gillette. The essence of shaving.
There's gloom on some faces. There is joy in others. SMU and Arkansas. Dave Bliss. Can you win a ball game down 49-58 with 1:33 against Arkansas?
Certainly you can. It has done many times, but I don't think it's going to be done this afternoon.
Well, there's one thing about it. They're still going after him.
Oh, goodness. goodness gracious. Yes, that's a great thing about college athletics. Dave obviously was discussing defense because it doesn't do you any good to discuss offense. When you're down 58-49 with 133, defense is a key. You've got to get the basketball and hope for the best on the offensive end.
So the Razorbacks, who have tremendous alumni fandom in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, will probably be packed in here tomorrow if they can hold this lead going up against Texas Tech, and the Red Raiders will bring their own shouters. And Joe Klein almost lost the ball out of bounds. Finally, the Razorbacks, Kenny Hutchinson brings it up the floor. Boy, this place will be rocking. We've got an intentional foul called as Fuller fouled, and Dave Bliss doesn't understand that one. That's a two-shot foul.
Well, I think that's what he doesn't understand. He certainly understands the foul. I'm sure that that was the game plan, but he doesn't understand the fact that the official's giving him 2 free throws instead of a 1-and-1 situation.
Kenny Hutchinson will go to the free throw line.
You know, that's a tough call to make, Merle, because, of course, it has to be a judgment call. You have to see something that tells you that, boy, this is a deliberate foul. And yet all officials know, they know the game well. They know in this situation that SMU is going to come out and foul anyhow.
Although Kenny Hutchinson hasn't produced many points this year for Arkansas, you get the feeling that this high-scoring youngster from New York will come back next year and will probably be a heavy contributor to the offensive attack. That's Konkak, fouled out of the ball game.
I get that feeling you're talking about several of the Arkansas underclassmen, not only Hutchinson.
Hutchinson, with help from Byron Irvin, comes out of there, and Johnny Fuller fouls.
All right, that time, let's say Fuller did a better job of acting because Bobby Dabler immediately signaled 1-and-1, not an intentional foul. Even though in his own mind, and Bobby was an excellent basketball player at UTEP in his day, he knows that that's exactly what SMU is going to do. They're going to foul on all possible occasions.
Minute 21 left. Arkansas's Kenny Hutchinson on the line again with a 10-point lead. 2 o'clock tomorrow, Texas Tech. Unless a miracle takes place, the opponent will be Arkansas. And I mean, we're talking about a major miracle now.
Yeah, you are. I don't think there's any question about it. This is Arkansas's ball game.
Dave Bliss, last 2 years over 20 wins. Last year, 25 victories for SMU. This year, the Mustangs will have won 22 and lost 9. 61-49, Arkansas. Minute 20 left of the game now. Johnny Fuller, Carl Wright, way outside for Wright, and yes, sir! 16 points for Carl Wright. Now 30 in the tournament for Wright.
Kyle's had himself another good afternoon of basketball. Played very well.
Irvin takes the ball out front. He is fouled. Reggie Pink.
That's a situation that we've been talking about. You know, you can call it either way. He knows it's an obvious foul, but go 1-on-1 and stay in form.
We started by comparing Konkak and Klein at the beginning of the ball game. This is what they've done.
Kind of an interesting comparison, isn't it? This is their 7th head-to-head competition in their collegiate career.
So, Eddie Sutton can look forward to tomorrow. Dave Bliss will look forward to next year.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, he'll look forward to next year. I'm not
okay.
just kind of.
All right.
No, he'll go to the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Southwest Conference play.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And we'll find out tomorrow for certain because that's the day that the pairings are announced. Who plays who and who goes.
Byron Irvin can have an all-time high, but doesn't. He had 18 against SMU, the meeting here over at Moody Coliseum, and he's got 18 today. Carl Wright way outside. It goes in.
Carl's on a streak, unfortunately for Carl, and the Mustangs, that streak is coming a little too late.
62-53, 48 seconds left. Foul called Wright.
You get the idea that Byron Irvin might like to play against SMU about 3 nights a week all through the season. That game he scored 18, of course, was up in Fayetteville, and he was really responsible, almost totally responsible for the victory. And that was one of the many early nails into the casket of SMU's success this year. I really have to think if they have been, and I guess you have to say they have been on a downhill slide, perhaps that was the game that really started them on it.
Riley Freeman hits the first. Well, I'll tell you, these coaches in the Southwest Conference have done a tremendous job this year. This conference has really toughened up.
Well, it's, you know, for years and years, everybody talked about the Southwest Conference as being nothing but football, but I I say really about 10 years ago, Merle, 8 to 10 years ago, basketball really came to the forefront, and it stayed there, and it's going to do nothing but get better as years go on.
Byron Irvin forced the turnover. Arkansas will take over. Kenny Hutchinson on the inbound. Klein up high, and Wright goes in to foul. So Joe Klein will go to the free throw line.
In a situation like this, if you're Eddie Sutton, the big thing that you worry about is having one of your players get hurt in a game that is already won, and you've got your big one, your championship, coming tomorrow afternoon.
So Joe Klein, who has 13 points, will be on the free throw line. There are the Razorbacks ready to go into the championship game of this tournament against the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the regular season conference champions, tomorrow. Eric Persky is getting ready to come in for Arkansas. So Klein connects, 14 points for Joe Klein. Jake Crane is also coming in, number 44. Stephen Moore, 33, is coming in.
Well, that's a good move. The game is over with, and there's no sense in risking an injury to one of your starters.
Rose is coming in. Lucas is coming in for Arkansas.
And if possible, somebody will come in for Joe Klein just as soon as he shoots another free throw.
So Klein with 14. Arkansas 65-53, 42 seconds left. Arkansas, Texas Tech tomorrow. And now Klein will be able to come out of the ball game. He is replaced by Stephen Moore, and a big hand for Joe Klein.
And a very deserved hand. You can't ask for anything more than Joe Klein gives you, game in and game out.
So the Razorbacks heading for their 21st win of the year. 42 seconds left to play. 66-43, 53. Arkansas. Wright way outside again. 20 points for Carl Wright. If he were in the NBA, he would have about 5 3-point plays by now. Wright trying to take the ball away from Lucas. We have 25 seconds left. Now Rose.
Who's going to take the shot for Arkansas?
Well, Rose gets it up there, and he is fouled.
Pink, I believe Reginald Pink committed that foul.
Joe Klein, tremendous day. Eddie Sutton, tremendous year. James Dickey, Bill Brown as assistants.
One more to go. A big one tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock.
This is going to be a great game tomorrow. Texas Tech, the experienced ball club with all the poise in the world, has not played its best basketball in this tournament in the first 2 games, but has won. And when you don't play your best basketball and win, you've got yourself a heck of a ball club.
Well, in their first game against Baylor, I really felt that they were playing just about well enough to win. But this afternoon in the first ball game, I really felt Tech was playing exceedingly well, Merle, particularly in the first half. Now, they fell off a little bit in the second half, but they came in strong with a rush. So I think they're tournament ready and ready to go tomorrow against the Razorbacks.
Scott is coming in, or trying to come in now for Arkansas. He is due to report in. But right now, SMU's possession, 18 seconds left to play. Scott said, hey, give me a chance.
That's what I'm out here for.
He will get one at the next dead ball if there is one. Right. Throwing up the left-handed hook from his hip.
And Dave Bliss standing just shakes his head with his hands on his hip saying, what can I do? Or what should I do? Or something to that effect.
Now Scott can come in. 68-55 Arkansas. Joe Klein, big day. Byron Irvin, a big day for Arkansas. Right 35-footer with 2 seconds left. Arkansas just walks the ball up. And the Arkansas Razorbacks go to the championship game tomorrow against Texas Tech as they beat the Southern Methodist Mustangs by a score of 68-55. And our Curtis Mathis player of the game is Byron Irvin. And Curtis Mathis will contribute a 19-inch full-featured colored television set to the University of Arkansas in the name of Byron Irvin, who had 18 points off the bench today. At the end of the season, he will receive a plaque from Curtis Mathis recognizing this honor. The final score, Arkansas defeating SMU 68-55. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we'll televise the championship game between Texas Tech and Arkansas. Now, this is Merle Herman along with Dan Spica and Ron Thulin, hoping that you've enjoyed today's semifinal round of action and will join us tomorrow on the Raycom Television Network.
We've got too many Nissan trucks at Fort Smith Auto World, and the boss said, move them out. Rough, tough standard bed trucks with a stingy 2.4-liter engine. Long bed trucks for extra payload built for the long haul. Spacious king cabs for the ultimate in trucking pleasure. And four-wheeling fun with our major muscle 4x4s. You can make your best deal now at Fort Smith Auto World because we're offering you 8.8% APR financing. But hurry, this offer expires soon.
Fort Smith Auto World.
Your Chrysler Plymouth Nissan dealer.
The Ribeye Steak and Seafood House is celebrating their anniversary with 25% off their ribeye steak dinner. In celebration of the anniversary, enjoy some new additions to the menu. Alaskan king crab legs, steak and shrimp, steak and tail, grain-fed catfish, and delicious USDA steaks. The Ribeye features private dining rooms, open dining areas, and banquet facilities. Celebrate with the Ribeye and try their special 25% off their ribeye steaks. The Ribeye Steak and Seafood House, 1400 Highway 71 South.
Be sure to look for Safeway's full color ad this week. You'll find page after page of outstanding values. Save big on Safeway regular ground beef. 99 cents a pound is the low price for any size package. Sweet savings on Domino pure cane sugar. Buy the 5-pound bag for just $1.39. And golden ripe bananas are great for snacks or desserts at 3 pounds for $1. Colorful savings are yours this week at Safeway.
Safeway, America's favorite food store.
We're blowing out high prices at Quality Furniture during our March blowout sale. We have these beautiful name brand sofas such as Broyhill, Swigger, Riverside, and many others. We have this big colonial sofa and matching chair upholstered in beautiful, durable, Antron nylon fabric for only $5.89. And you can purchase the matching love seat for only $3.99. So don't miss these tremendous savings on these name brand sofas during our March blowout sale at Quality Furniture. We're now open on Sunday from 1 to 5.
Tales of the Dark Side, tonight at 10:30.